Yes. If you could see the live right there. Hello, hello. Welcome back to Bridging the Gap. I wanted to welcome all of our new panelists. You see some faces you'll recognize, and then you'll see a lot of new faces. So I wanted to welcome the panelists for joining, and also thank you for joining the show, everyone who's watching tonight. This is Bridging the Gap, and I'm your host, Kelly. I just wanted to go through and introduce everyone by name, and then I'm going to give everyone a chance to introduce themselves. We have Fee. You can say hi. And then we have Raul Duke. Alex Frizz Bomb. Do you just want me to call you Alex? Is Alex good enough? And then we have Chanel. Hi, Chanel. Brian and Sayeda. So I always like to give the panelists a chance to introduce themselves, so we know like your ethnic background, if whatever you want to share about yourself, where you're from, where you were born, if you speak any languages, whatever you'd like to share about your background, you're more than welcome to. I'll start with you, Fee. Whatever you're comfortable sharing.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I am Fee Robinson, and I am from Bangladesh. So I speak Bengali. I was born in Bangladesh, and I came to Canada. I'm from Toronto. I came here 21 years ago, and I haven't really gone back. So I'm pretty much westernized. And yeah, otherwise, I am a engineer slash entrepreneur, and I'm also a single mom. So many layers, but thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's gonna be fun having you on tonight. Okay, Raul Duke, feel free to introduce yourself.
My name is Raoul Duke. I'm a famous literary figurehead. I am. My background is Irish, German, English, a little bit of Dutch, smattering of Cherokee. I speak English, bad English, Gaelic, German, and a little bit of Swahili. Um, and I'm just happy to be here.
Can you let us hear some of that Swahili?
No.
I know.
Alex?
Asante.
There you go. She said hello.
No, asante.
Asante.
Asante means thankful.
She's talking the southern dialect. I know the northern one.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Raul. Alex, feel free to introduce yourself.
Best poker face in the world right now. How do I follow that? Raul. Yeah, I'm Alex. I guess my ethnic background is British Caribbean. My granddad's from Jamaica. So I guess I feel a bit lost where that's concerned. That's a different kettle of fish. I speak English and, like Raul, bad English, but no other languages. Broken languages, a lot of swear words and other languages that I shouldn't know. Other than that, wasted youth. Yeah, that's me. Oh, by the way, yeah, the Wirral in England.
Chanel, thank you, Alex. I need you to share some of those swear words a little bit later. Maybe teach a class. Chanel, feel free to introduce yourself.
Hi. Sorry for the
Hi.
technical difficulties
Yay,
earlier,
we can
though.
hear you now.
I am from St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I've been living in the Florida area for about 19 years now. So I also speak English and broken English, I like to say. I am a new mom, 2 years in, a little over 2 years in, so still trying to figure it
Congratulations.
out. Thank you. And I too am happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. Brian, take it away.
What up? I'm Brian. I am from Puerto Rico. I speak Spanish and English. I am a fish dad and a two cat dad. But yeah, it's pretty much me.
Not a fish dad. What is your fish name? Do you have one fish or two fishes? Is
I
it
ha-
fish? Is fish plural or is it fishes?
it was fishes. Wait, what?
Fishes.
Yeah, it was two of them, but one of them passed away a little bit ago, maybe 2 weeks ago.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
Yeah. But the one still alive, his name is Captain America. We call him Cappy. Yeah, because he is bright red and blue. It's beautiful. And my two feline daughters, their name are Kaya and Marina.
We're finding more out about you this week than we found out last week. Thank you for sharing, Brian and Sayeda. Everyone knows Sayeda, but please, for the people who don't know, introduce yourself.
Good evening. So my name is Saida. Born, raised, and located in El Salvador. I speak Spanish and English as well. Some other languages, but just stuff that I know. I am a mother of a 10-year-old daughter. That's about it.
And she's a boss, but we're not going to mention that. Okay, so we're just going to hop right into it. I do want to make an announcement that there won't be a show next week, but there will be a show the following week. So I just wanted to let everyone know, because I know people get so excited about the show and they just wait for it to pop up, and I don't want to disappoint anyone. So
What happened?
can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Magic.
Now we
You went
can.
away for a moment.
Sorry about that. I do want to jump right into the first question. A lot of the panels have already received the.
Okay, we lost her again.
It's become
think she was
Kelly
gonna
No
say, yeah.
Combos.
I'm sorry.
Half
I'm
combo.
sorry.
We're here half.
So
Kelly half combo.
So the first question is, in other cultures, if the wife doesn't work, how is she cared for? So I know in the Western culture, a lot of women do go to work and they do have that independence. So I'm wondering, in other cultures, if the wife chooses not to, how is she cared for? So anyone who knows or who has a different perspective can chime in.
I'll go first.
Okay.
So in the Islam community, because Bangladesh is mostly Islamic country, so it's really that the man takes care of the household. The man will, pay for everything. Literally, just come home, and the wife would have everything ready. So the women are taking the children to school, feeding the children, just housework, right? So they're like housewives, housewifely duties, and they wouldn't go to work. So the women back home, they wouldn't really have a time for a job, because when they're coming home, they're taking care of the house, and that's about it. But men wouldn't feel the urge to not take care of the home, like that's their duty, that's what they were taught to do. So that's in Bangladesh.
So can you hear me okay? So for those who don't know, where is Bangladesh located?
So it's in between. It's on the Bengal Bay. So it's on the coast of Bengal Bay, and it's beside Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Malaysia. So it's really at the bottom of of the coast, and we're also very close to Somalia. So we also have a lot of Somalian residents living there as well. So yeah,
Okay. Thank you for sharing, because
no
if you don't
problem.
have a map in front of you, some people don't know. So thank
No
you.
problem. No problem.
Raul Duke, would you like to chime in on this topic?
Well, I live in America, so it's pretty much the same experience you get, Kelly. But historically speaking, generally what Fia said is correct. I mean, it was the woman who stayed at home and took care of the house head, and then the man would go out and bring the money. It was a team, you know. One person had to go make money, and one person has to take care of the kids and stay home. And as the culture evolves, women have more opportunities, but sometimes the way that the culture stays stagnant, maybe. Um, the women will just stay at home and take care, and the man will bring the money in. Until then, she stays with her parents. Her father takes care of her the same way he does the rest of the family.
Okay. Thank you for your take on it. Yes, that is how I was brought up, but enough about me. Alex, do you have anything to add on this topic?
Um,
Is
it's
it different in England?
no, it's. I guess it's the exact same as both of those explanations. But I guess nowadays in the modern world, you can't afford for one parent to stay at home. Yeah, and I guess how can you? It's weird. How can you call yourself a parent if you're not actually parenting because you're at work? So people who take the Michael out of a parent that stays at home and looks after their child, they're still working full time. And a parent that goes to work is working two jobs. Yeah, life is hard. And yeah, just that's my opinion on it. My opinion is not. I don't get the roles, because the roles, it doesn't really matter. You just have someone that provides and someone that cares. Hopefully, both can do both. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
I guess that I didn't really expect to answer this one, so I didn't.
No,
I was
no,
going to
you
actually bow out. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry. You don't have to. I was just giving you the opportunity. You were
Okay,
next
thank
in
you.
line, but
I'll
I
ignore it next
appreciate
time.
it. Okay. Chanel, did you have anything to add?
Um, no, I guess it's the same. I mean, growing up in St. Thomas, it's much like a village. So the mom, the mother, the wife had to care for the kids. But in my household, my mom worked as well as my dad, and that's the way it is with me. I work. If I didn't work, then, or if my mom didn't work, then, yeah, my father, my husband would care for the household. I mean, it's kind of tough in today's economy
Mm-hmm.
to have a one income household. Not impossible, just tough. And so it was interesting because I had to make the choice of whether I would go back to work after becoming a mom or stay at
That's what I
home
was gonna
and care
ask.
for the
Yeah.
household.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose to go back to work, not just for the financial aspect of it, but just because I love what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's tough, to not be with your children or your child all the time, but it's also nice to have a little break as well, if I'm being truthful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
So,
especially
yeah.
with a little one, because they are a lot of work. It's a lot of
hmm
hands-on.
hmm Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Brian, did you have anything to
Welcome.
add on this topic?
Yeah, at least in my case, my parents separated when I was very young. So I always, at least in my case, I always grew up like seeing both of my parents work, and they both, they both care for me. So it was very much a teamwork, even though they didn't really speak to each other, or they never really, I guess they never really saw it as teamwork, but it was actually teamwork, even though they didn't have a good relationship in between each other.
Mm-hmm. I have something to add, but I want Sayeda to go first.
Sure. Thank you. So,
Absolutely.
I would just shortly say that it's pretty much the same in my country. Like that was the way it was, or it used to be to a certain point. But I really noted it, and I love the way that Raul said it was a team. It was teamwork, even though when someone was going to work and someone staying home. I love the fact that he saw it as teamwork. One person is doing one job, the other one is, but people nowadays don't appreciate that. They want to diminish that work that a woman does in the house is like nothing. You're just staying home doing nothing. When raising kids is not easy. And the fathers that stay home in their kids' life know how hard this is. Like to do the chores in the house, try to take care of the kids, try to teach them something, and they're not just on the phones. When you're actually a present parent, you know how, and you learn to value this. Also, I love when he mentioned until society evolved, because a lot of people don't look at it that way. The man doesn't have to go hunt anymore, right? So it's not, life is not as hard, I would say, with all the difficulties, because men have made life easier by inventing all this stuff that we have nowadays, and technology makes it easier for everybody. But just as life evolve, our life evolve as well. And we have to get out of that mindset. We're not in the cave no more. And men and women have to go out there and work for what is the household. And also Alex mentioned that it is both, right? It's both people nowadays. A lot of people want to see like, they're 50-50. It's not that. It's someone else is helping you to provide. And if you look at it that way, which is now how it's seen in my country, that I would say that's the difference. Because I don't, I want to put the disclaimer that yes, there's people that your money is my money and my money is my money, which I don't agree with that. Here in my country, the way that we see it nowadays is like, hey, we have two incomes, and this is our income together as a family. And for that reason is because we understand that with one income, we cannot support a household and our family's lifestyles and needs, which is totally different than what the lifestyle that I want. What are the things that I want? We look at it as like, this is still a team. It's just that the roles have changed a little bit. And that's why we keep like still together. The abuela taking care of the children, or the sister, the sibling taking cousins or other family members taking care of your children. So yeah, I just wanted to add that.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Alex, you came off the mic. Did you have something you wanted to add?
I've forgotten, so it's obviously wasn't that important. Rule number 1: always hold your tongue. Think before you speak.
Or you could jot it down. That's what I do. Like if someone's talking and I'm like, oh, let me write this down. Go ahead, Fee.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of piggyback off of what Cyrus said. It's true. I think right now, if we were to have that dynamic where the man paid for everything and the woman just did everything at home, I think what it is who's superior. So, if, like back in the day, the woman still had a say, even though she didn't bring the money in. The man still included the woman as a team. Like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna consult my wife. Like, I remember I used to work at a telemarketing job. And I used to like try to sell somebody something, and the man would pick up. It's like, oh no, I gotta wait for my wife to ask her, right? And I respected that so much because like it's literally you guys are discussing it together. And now I feel like, hey, if the woman is making more or the man is making more, then it's always like, oh no, I make more, so I bring the bread, so I make the decisions. So it's like it's very egoistic, and I don't know, it's not fair for everybody. So I love that. So yeah, thank you.
I did want to add because I grew up in a 2-parent home. My parents were married. I was one of 5 children, and my mother worked, and my mother stayed home with the children. That was her job, and my father went to work, and he provided. So for us, I think it was financially smarter for my mother to stay home because putting 5 children in daycare was just it wasn't feasible. I mean, they would spend more than she would make going to work. But I guess I like the way they did it because my father took care of everything financially up until all the children were in school. And then my mom decided she wanted to go get an odd job or something she could. But like her main duty was making sure she spent time and raised and poured into the kids. And I think it's a good balance because you're not depending on another person to raise your child. When you put someone in daycare, you don't know what values they're instilling in them. So that was just my 2 cents. I would like to be able to do it that way. I know in today's time it's not always feasible, but I think being raised by your parents is the best option. So
Absolutely.
definitely.
Sorry, I just wanted to say, like, it's so like it's so interesting how we kind of like go back to how our parents did things. And for me, my parents were totally different. Like, my dad is like 75, my mom is 60, like very much of
Oh,
age
okay.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, my dad, they're still together. However, my mom worked. She still works to this day, and she's 65 or whatever, 60 years old.
Did he
And
have a problem with her working? Was he
no,
okay
it
with
was
it?
like it was like she had to, like,
Okay.
like kind of forced her to, because she pays half of everything, and it's like a different dynamic. And I told myself, like, this is not the type of life I want. Like, okay, because 50-50 is fine, but when there's like, it's like a roommate type of dynamic, I don't really I don't agree with it, right? It should be a family, whereas like it was my family household, like the home that I grew up in, was totally like, it was kind of toxic in a way. However, they were still together. So when people say, people who come in from two parents home, two parent household is always so healthy, it really isn't, because
Sometimes not. You're right.
it's not, right? So yeah, I just wanted to put my little 2 cents in there.
I appreciate the 2 cents. Did anyone else have a topic, anything to add on this topic? Because I do have another follow-up question for this one.
So
I
something
guess
I
I would have
wanted
to.
to mention. Something I wanted to mention is that not too long ago, I asked my brother-in-law, like, what was his thoughts about this, because we were having this discussion in a panel, and I asked him because he is Salvadorian, the culture, and I wanted to see how a man looks at it from here. And my sister works as well. So he said, some women have the mentality of your money is my money. So he's like, well, he said, honestly, my money is her money, and her money is her money. And I'm like, really?
Ooh.
That's what you think? It kind of like blow my mind to think that he said that. My money, it's her money, and her money, it's her money. And I'm like, how? No, why? He said, you know what? What's the difference? He said, and he was trying to compare what I was saying. He said the difference is that her money, she use it for the house. If she wants new curtains, she gets it from there. If she wants something for the house, she buys it from there. I know that she's not spending the money in stuff that are not for the house or for us. Like, even though it's her money, she's using the money for us, and that's why it doesn't bother me. So I just wanted to point that out, because I think when men see this, I don't think they care. But if the woman is saying, it's my money and I'm using it for my clothes, my shoes, my hair, my stuff, me going out, my vacation, of course there is a problem, because it's not me being selfish. It's our family, it's for our vacation, for our kids' clothing, for our kids' activity, for our house. So that's the difference.
I have a question. I know everybody is I'm going to be a little controversial here, because I know everybody is being all harmonious, and that's beautiful. But there is another side to the husband working and the wife staying at home. And there are control issues sometimes with that. Like, I bring the bacon, I'm the boss, you be quiet, know your place. So there's that aspect of it too, where it's not this unity, this family, this togetherness, we're doing it as a team. There's the dark side. Be quiet, you don't have any say, because I am man, hear me roar. So how does that play into?
Well, I think what most of us have been describing is a more idealistic situation. I mean, we've obviously had some good luck with it, but of course you're right. And that's been a good portion of human history, is where if the guy is making the money, and for a long time, women across the world had no rights. I mean, you guys it didn't matter. You were almost property. Your father would marry you off, okay? And he would get the dowry from it and all this. We are progressing past that. In this panel, everyone that's described that has described very wonderful situations where that's where it should be. I'm actually from a 4-parent family. My parents got divorced and then both remarried, so I got to have 2 Christmases. That was nice. Um, but everybody, I did not ever. At the original part, my mom did stay at home. My dad worked, but it was never hardcore. You must obey me. But does that exist? Of course, it exists now. It exists all over the globe right now. Um, and we can't ignore that just because none of us have experienced it personally. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but that's been a natural part of the marriage situation for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've heard of the ugly side. I have friends who, like, I have a friend who I asked her to come on the panel, and she's like, I could not. My husband would not allow it. So, because he brings the bacon, he makes the rules, and she just, it's understood that she cannot. She didn't even ask him. She just knew he won't let me. So I know it happens, even in this country. Go ahead,
Sorry, I know. I'm like, oh my God. It did. I mean, I was married.
Yeah.
I was married for 7 years, and I had that situation where,
You don't look old enough.
Thank you. I
That's
appreciate
a
it. It's my
compliment,
skincare.
yeah.
It's my skincare, honey. But no, I was married for 7 years. It became to the point it was abusive. I didn't have a voice. And I mean, no, I'm a Western woman. Like, yes, I was born back home, but I've been here more than than back there, right? So here, when my voice was suppressed, I literally lost myself. Like insecurities, I literally forgot what I loved. I had to kind of rebuild myself again after the divorce, and it was 3 years, and it's still ongoing. And it's literally, it's true, and it happens right now and right under your nose, and you wouldn't even know it because you think, oh, people have this great dynamic. And a lot of women are going through it, right? And it's something that we need to talk about, something that we need to be vigilant about. And sorry, give me a moment. Sorry.
It's okay. Someone was, Brian, were you trying to say something?
Earlier, I was just trying to add that that's why in some, like, at least in some Latin countries, it's a lot easier when we were talking about raising the kids and stuff like that to be around family, because you can, most family you can trust, and you can like have your kids be taken care of by a family member.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have a big family like mine, or have four sisters and many aunts and my grandmother and stuff like that, when I was being raised, if my mom didn't have if there was no childcare for me, which I was never really put any childcare, like any like establishment like that. I was just either my grandmother would take care of me, or my grandfather would take care of me, or an aunt or a sister. It's just, I know it's far off from what we're talking about right now, but that's what I wanted to add earlier.
No, but you are right, because my godmother is Cuban, and her mother, everyone calls her like abuela or abuelita. She watches all the grandkids, all the great grandkids, and like by the time the mother gets off from work to come pick up the kids, they're washed, they're fed, they're put to bed. They just pick them up and put them in their bed at home. Like, she takes care of everything. And I don't know if they pay her, but like, she's like thebomb.com, and she's like in her 80s now, still watching the newest babies that are being born.
Which is something that comes, I guess it comes easier to, Latin countries. I don't know. I mean, I have no experience with how any other country would be, but at least in my case, it comes easy because, family takes care of family.
You know what? I think it is a Latin thing because it doesn't happen with me. Like, my parents are like, keep the kids away from me because they're old, right? So they're like, no, I've raised my children. I'm good. Like, do not call me. I do not want to watch your children right now. Like, my child is really good, by the way, but they're just old. But I think it is a Latin thing because a lot of my friends, like, the parents are so involved, right? My friends who are Latin American or Canadian, parents are super involved. It's like the parent, the grandmothers raise the kids, and the parents are just visiting,
Right.
But yeah,
exactly. That's what I've noticed. And they're just like, oh, they're fed and everything, and they see them at night when they pick them up after work. I
It
wish it
might
was
not
like
only
that.
be.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. It might not only be a Latin thing. It's either, a Caribbean thing or the Black culture, because I was just talking with a friend the other day about how um, I've realized how important the village is, because growing up, anybody that was around, family, friends, um, who we would call aunts and uncles, but they weren't blood related. They were just kind of friends of the family, would all just chime in to help take care of the children. And even today, I have my sister. My parents aren't here with me. I mean, they're alive, but they're not here in the same place that I am. But if they were, they would bring the children over. We'll take care of them. We'll help care for them. Um, Siblings, aunts, uncles, more than willing to help care for the children. And it really is important to have, well, at least, for me, to have a village so that I know that I'm not alone. My husband and I are not alone in raising our child. If we ever need anything, then there's always somebody that we could call on.
That is awesome. Because even after you get married and you have children, you still need some time for yourself. You still need time. Even if you're married, you want to date, you want to go out, and it's really hard if you don't have someone you could trust that can watch your children.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to have that. And it's nice if it's family, because they're not going to be weird or do anything crazy or abuse your children in any way. So that's always a comfort. Is it like
No, that's
that
a
in
fact.
England?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying, because as a single mom, it's like, it's really, I had to build the community. So the village that you're speaking about, it's not of family, but like family is not just blood, right? So I've created that family dynamic. People I've known since I've been in this country, people that, I've grew up with, people who was poor my guides. So I've created somebody that trust. However, because of like how I was raised and what happened in my past, like as a child, I don't have that trust. Like I'm really trying to work on my trust right now, but that trust to leave my kid with another person, even if it's like somebody like family or whatever, I'm trying to build that up. But like it's true, like you need to have a village.
So I know we've done a lot of talking about the women. This next question is for the men. I do want the women's take on it, but I want to hear the men first. I want to know. Okay, so the question is, how important is a man's need to feel needed by a woman? Raul, you look like you have something to say.
No, I wanted Brian to go first.
You're so stupid.
To be honest, I don't think it's
Alex.
important at all. Of course, I'm going to step right in there. Why is my need more important than yours, and why is your need more important than mine? At the end of the day, if you need to feel needed, give that love, give that attention. Does that make sense? It works both ways, and that's just a relationship. If you don't understand that, maybe that's why relationships don't work. Me speaking as a like, I genuinely am a single male who finds it really difficult, I guess, to have relationships, and I'm pretty sure there's a line of exes that would probably watch this and giggle. Yeah, all in successful relationships with kids and blah 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 blah. But there's obviously something wrong with me, and maybe there isn't, but it's just life, and I genuinely think it's not a need to feel needed, and I don't know if it's an important thing. And yeah, I guess there you go. Raul, you can hit me back. Let's go. Or Brian, hit me back.
I don't think there's anything wrong with you. Maybe you just haven't found the person that you can't live without.
Or maybe no, we're not gonna go into this.
You said it. You said it.
You're mean, but yeah, maybe. But what happens if I have? And what happens if that person can no longer give me what I need on a physical level anymore?
Like it
Time to
fizzled out
spice
and
things up.
died.
Pardon?
Go ahead, Fee.
No, I said it's time to spice things up, honey. Go to the the shops, the stag shops, or whatever it may be. Get creative with it. Go on Google, go on YouTube, whatever site is there. Get the resources. Those resources, honey. You can spice things up. But don't just give up because the physical attraction is gone, right? There could be you built so much time You invested time, and a lot of times I feel like we throw things away because one thing is missing or two things are missing, right?
Um, I guess you're sort of right, but you're sort of wrong. So this person unfortunately passed away 10 years ago. And I guess from then, I guess life's just been a struggle.
So they were. You feel like they were your soulmate, your perfect person, and no one else could match.
No, I believe
that.
there's definitely more than one soulmate. I definitely believe that. Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
that sounds like
Because
a topic.
because how can you have, if a soul is infinite, how can you have just one soulmate? Because it goes
You-
on and on and on. Anyway, let's stop there.
You're trying to get deep on us.
That's
So
true.
you feel like you
Energy
can
never
meet.
dies.
You
Go
feel like
ahead.
you can meet your perfect person, a perfect person for you more than one time in your lifetime.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you've potentially, if you depending, because you're pushing into religious here, like religious territories where people believe in reincarnation and stuff. And if souls are infinite and you do come back and you live many lifetimes, you will have fallen in love with many different people, but different souls at different times. So at different times, different souls will be awake and asleep. The world is such a confusing place that we live in. But yeah, I do believe there's more than one person you can love. You can love more than one person. You can. Love is the world is really weird, and we're in a weird state of, I think, and how I look at it, a weird state of awakening. We're realizing that Brian, I'm assuming straight away, just because you're a bald-headed American, that you're gonna like gender fluidity, sex, like obviously relationships and stuff. Like we're in a really, really good place in the world, and the world is coming alive, and it's a good time and a bad time to be alive, I think.
Bullheaded Raul, do you have anything to add to this?
Why you gotta bring up my head? I mean, I thought we were gonna stay away from that.
I don't think he was talking about your head.
You've obviously done something really mean in a previous life.
It was maybe karma.
I'm joking. I love you.
Oh, wait. You said ball-headed Raul? I thought you said bull-headed.
Yeah, I didn't mean it in a bad way. But yeah. See.
You're fine, man. You really can't.
I am gonna have a pint with you at some point, and I am gonna apologize for that conversation and take whatever is coming to me. Okay?
I'll take the beer, you know, and I'll let you apologize, but you know, I don't really care.
Raul, it's a good shaped head. That's all that matters. Because not everybody can pull up a bald head, okay?
Oh, I got some friends that got the alien head where it sticks up.
Oh, honey. Yeah. The stubbles, no, it's very smooth. You take good care of it. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And Sean told me before he
What's my name?
the show, he was like, Raul said before he was going to join the show that he was going to put it in a ponytail. So I was waiting for that.
I was trying to wear my hair up, but I didn't have time to do it. So I was going to wear headphones like him, you know, but it just messes up my hair, and I don't look good for the show. What he said about love and everybody, you having more than one soulmate, of course. The idea of just one soulmate's a fairy tale. It's a great idea for romance stories, but in reality, human beings are chaotic creatures, and you're going to have different stages in your life in which you are a different person now than you were 3 years ago. Therefore, of course, you'll fall in love with multiple different people as you grow. That's just nature. So do not believe. There's an old wives' tale that guys only get 3 good loves their whole life. Once we've done it 3 times and gotten our heart broken, you're pretty much out of luck. That might have some legitimacy just based off of you become more jaded and yada, yada, yada. But as far as there only being one soul in the universe of all the souls, regardless of your religion, is nonsense. Of course, you can fall in love more than one time. The males need to be needed. Once again, that kind of delves back into our history as far as you were going into our traditional marriage sense back whenever women were more possessions than individuals and they were traded off. The father had to pay for her caring until he found someone to take her, and then, then he could take care of her and yada, yada, yada. I believe that it was less horrible and more teamwork to where someone's going to stay at home and someone's going to go work. If you're staying at home, you're not going to be lazy. You're going to do shit and you're going to team up together and get to work. But of course, there were the asshole situations where the man was just completely taking advantage and just beating the shit out of her. Yeah, human beings are chaotic, wild creatures. Based off of our old traditional values is a man's desire to be needed and important. From a heterosexual male standpoint, it makes us feel good. when you guys come to us with our problems and we fix it. It actually screws us up when you guys are just trying to share and we're not supposed to fix the problem, and so we start giving you ideas how to fix it and you're like, shut the fuck up. I'm not trying to have you fix it. I just want you to say you understand. And so it does come into play. And you guys know you've all had that effect. The guy's just like giving you, well, here's how you fix this. Here's how you fix the problem. And you're like, shut up. I'm just trying to share here. Give a little bit. Alex got something to say on that.
1 second. Just because you hit a massive nerve there, and there might be a lot of men struggling with this, and I learned a really simple thing, which is, do you need help or do you need support? You ask those two questions and you'll win at life.
That is so true, because every time you're talking, you're like, I just wanted to tell you how I feel. I don't want you to solve anything. But men automatically go into that like solution mode. Oh, okay, so let's think about this. So we got to do that. I'm like, no, I just wanted to tell you. I don't want you to come kill the person at work. I just wanted to tell you they were being mean to me. But
Yeah, just
always
quit.
like,
Just quit your job. Okay.
let's fix this.
I'll come down there. I'll have a chat with him. No, just.
I know. I don't want you to come to work. I'm gonna be there tomorrow. I don't.
No, it's just a talk. I'm not going to do anything. We're just going to have a conversation.
Why are you bringing the hammer?
Yeah, come bring him over.
Brian, did you have anything to add about a man's need to feel needed?
Well, from a homosexual male point of view, I don't think I have a need to feel needed by a woman, but I do have a need to feel needed in general. In my household, even though it sometimes might be frustrating to do it all on my own, if that's the case, and sometimes I do like taking care of the house itself and make sure that things get done. And who better than myself to do things that I want done a certain way? If I want something done a particular way, I'm the best person to do it. So I do agree with the point of view of, you do feel it's good to feel needed, but it's good to feel needed, but I don't think it's something that a person needs to survive, though.
My question to you would be, what do you need in a relationship, like emotionally or physically? Like, what would you want from a partner? It doesn't have to be a woman or a man, but in love, right? Well, how do you receive love in a relationship?
That's a good question, Pete.
Well, in my case, I would say my love language is gifting and acts of service. Is that the other one? Yeah. So I would say, I like to know that somebody put effort into whatever it is. If it's a gift, I like to know that when I see the gift, that I will know that that person put effort into it, or and thought about me. So even if it's something simple, if it's something that I'm emotionally involved with it, I'm gonna love it. And if it's cooking,
like an apron that has Puerto Rico on it, since you're Puerto Rican and you like to cook.
Yes, or like
that's thoughtful. That's thoughtful.
I did that.
Yes,
you did, girl.
Because the first that's me. Because the first time I got him a gift card, he was like,
"Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm like, what would you do if somebody gives you a gift card?
No,
Is that thoughtful to you?"
It was
no.
It was Christmas, and he opened up the card. He was like, "What the fuck is this?"
I don't care if it's $1,000. I'm just like, oh, okay, thank you.
That's not a good gift for him.
With the name, to whom it may concern.
Yep.
So yeah.
I just said to bride. That's it.
But you know what? You throw me under the bus, and that's not cool.
But listen,
I learned my lesson, and I haven't done it since.
It's okay, and I appreciate you.
Okay.
And you know that I love you. So
I appreciate that. I hope you feel needed by me. Did anyone else want to answer Fee's question? Well, because that's a good question.
Is that just for us, or is that for the ladies, or what?
I mean, I don't mind answering it, but it's, go ahead, guys.
Chanel hasn't said anything. Speak up. Yeah, I'll call you
Why
out.
are you
That's the
putting
only
her
reason
on the
You
spot?
have been sitting over there
Wow.
quiet,
Plenty.
Chanel.
you brought me on.
I'm listening and enjoying the conversation.
You have been
Um,
sitting pretty over there. We need to hear
This
your
is my
voice.
first time. This is my first time.
You're doing great.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
I guess to answer Fee's question, my I feel loved when you spend time with me. I don't need gifts, though I like them, or anything else. Quality time is my thing, and so I love when my husband and I are able to spend that time together, whether it's just watching a movie or sitting and talking or going on a trip or whatever the case might be. That quality time is very special to me. And
Now, what about the
uh-huh.
need part? The need part. Do you feel like it's important for you to show him you need him?
Yes, though he has learned rather quickly that I am a very independent woman and I don't necessarily need him to do anything. There's been times where I ask him a question and he takes too long to answer. It's fine, I'll do it myself. I don't need you to do it for me. But I've, learned that he loves when I do need him. Whether it's to do something, to fix something, or he loves when I need him to fix something. Or just, give me some sort of support. That's very important to him. So I try to allow myself to, need him from time to time. Of course, I will always
So do you
be
like
able to do
purposely
things when I
fall
need it.
back? You like, and like, you know what? I know I can do this, but let me let him do it
Yes,
because you know
I
he
do
needs
that.
to feel that.
I don't do it all the time, but yes, I do. I do know that he needs that. So,
Oh, so you're a good wife.
I try to be. I mean, we've been married for almost 14 years, so I guess I'm doing something right.
Awesome. Congratulations. I love to see when love works and they stick it out and stay together and you're happy because you sound like you're still smiling.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Alex, I see a finger. And then after Alex, Sayeda, if you want to chime in.
What happens if he watches this and now he knows that you pretend? Been a devil's advocate.
Shucks,
Oh,
I didn't think
honey,
about that, Alex.
I can't get the box. Oh, no.
Cut that, I won't swear, but cut that. I know you can. But you're actually falling and hurting yourself. Oh, you've created your own kind of worms here. I'm just, yeah.
Go ahead, Sayeda.
So, like everybody, I like to think about what the question is and what I am like and the terms that I'm using. A lot of people will use that, no, I don't choose to, I don't need you, I want you, right? But what is the difference between needing and I want something? So I would say that, but first to answer your question is men need to feel needed because they're natural protectors, of the people they love. And they want to feel like they can do something for them. And it's not necessarily like to say, oh my God, I need you to be here all the time, because that's codependency. There has to be a balance. But that's what makes them feel proud and value. When they do something for their family and they fix it, their ego is like, whew, and that encouraged them to continue to do better, because that's just encouragement. And that's for everybody. It's like when you say your kid, hey, great job, you did amazing. Right. And they just keep going and try harder and harder, because that's just human nature. So the need to be needed is individual. It's for, it's a sense of significance for each person. But that doesn't mean that you don't love yourself, because it's a lot of people concentrate on seeing the negative part of it. We are humans. We all need to feel needed in a way. Why? Because it's part of, we want to be part of a community. And we want to feel needed, like we're like I don't want to feel useless. So I want to feel like the community need me. Hey, even if it's just to clean, to keep this thing clean, we need you to do this, you know? So it's more like a human type of thing, but I need you speaks of what you can do to the other person. It focuses on the task you perform. And I want you expresses the desire that you have for the person. It focuses on who you are. So I need you because, hey, if you're providing for me and you're providing for the family, we need you. And it has an expiration time. We're going to need you until you're not here. Right? Because once you're not here, I'm going to have to figure it out, you know, but in the meantime, I need you. But I want you because it's you and I choose you. So it's both. And I love it, you know, when you actually think about all of this and separately, it's not like I just want you, no, but I also need you in my life. I want you to be here, you know, because that makes me who I am. The task that I represent or my duty, it is here because it wouldn't be me if you were not here. So you have to see the positive side of it. And I would say, you know, that the negative part is when it becomes a codependency that you cannot do anything without the person being around. That's another story. But right now we're, you know, I just wanted to mention like the positive side of it.
Right. It's like it's the feeling to be it's the purpose, right? It's the person's purpose. What's my purpose in life? My purpose is to be a mom. So once my mom, like right now, right, that's what I feel. I have to be the best mom I could be to provide for my child. But like once she starts not needing me, and then when she starts wanting me now and want to spend time with me, it's gonna be even more special. Because I'm like, okay, she doesn't need me, but she wants me to be there. So you know what? Like, okay. Like,
You got it. You got it.
right.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Exactly.
Right. And wanting to be desired. I think we have a lot of like um we have that necessity to be desired by someone that we desire as well, right? So I think, I mean, really I relate to it. So thank you, Saira.
That was really. Did any of the guys? I know Brian answered. Want to answer the question as far as what you need to feel needed? Is that how you asked it, Fee?
No, I asked Brian. I think you asked what it feels like, or how do you want to be needed. But I think Brian, I asked Brian, like what is it to be loved? Like how do you feel loved in a relationship? Like how do you
Okay, so that
receive
was like
love?
specifically to Brian.
Yeah, but I mean,
Oh.
anybody can answer it. I think it's important for us to know how everybody, each individual, receive love, because we have our own idea of how we receive it. And I feel like that's where my marriage kind of like clashed. There's so many aspects to my marriage. It was like a research. It was like a PhD. Like I've learned from it, right?
Right.
But yeah, so I think a lot of times we focus on what we need and how we receive and how we give it, because I'm a very affectionate person. However, the other person, my ex-husband,
May not
wasn't
feel it that way.
very physical. He wasn't a physical person, but he'll show it like, oh, I paid the bills. That's love. I'm like, no,
right.
like, give me some praise me. You know, I got dressed up for you. Like that's how I used to receive it. I'm like, I want to be praised a little bit, appreciate. Like
So
I want to
are
be
you
seen.
words of affirmation? Have you taken the love
Words of
language test?
affirmation. Yes. So words of affirmation, acts of service. So those are my main two. And how I give it, I think, like I used to give it just how I want to, but like in my relationships after, I did try to date. I think it's too soon too, because it's only been 3 years. I realized that I have to ask the person. I'm like, hey, what do you want from me? Like, what is it that you really want? Communication is so important. And I feel like a lot of people don't know how to communicate. And we still kind of like overlook that because we like the person's overall like appearance. But when they like, we don't really take in like, hey, this person's not really communicating with me, but we still accept them as to who they are, and then later on fall into this little rabbit hole of like, oh my God, like why won't you communicate? But I never communicated in the first place. So,
right. You overlooked it because they were attractive.
right.
But I do think it's important that everyone takes that test. There's a test you can take to find out your love language. It's called I think it's 5 love languages. You can Google it. It's online. You can take the test, and if you don't know what it is, you can find out in less than like 15 minutes. But every guy not that sounds terrible. Every guy, when I'm dating a guy, I ask him to take the test because I want to know, because my love language is words of affirmation. That's like my top tier one. Like the other ones were like fives. And for me, I need to hear it. I need you to tell me. I need you to express it to me verbally. But for someone else, it may be acts of service. So if I'm telling you, oh, I think you're so handsome, you're so cool, you're so fun, you're so amazing, they may not feel it that way. So I think it's important to find out how your person feels it and then express it to them in the way that they receive love. Because all day long I can tell my son, you're the coolest guy in the world, but he's quality time. So he wants me to sit down and play video games with him. That's how he feels love. He wants me to put my phone away when I talk to him. He doesn't want me to be distracted. That's his love language. So it doesn't matter what I say to him. He wants me to sit down and give him that quality. And I'm not like that. All you gotta do is say you're pretty as I'm walking by, and I'm good. Like we don't have.
That's also why it's
Right. We're
important
very
to-
simple. We're very simple. We just want a little
I
bit of
love you.
validation. A little bit of validation, baby. That's it. Just, go a long way.
That's why I think it's also important to make sure that both love languages can connect somehow. Because if they don't, then it's never going to be compatible.
And I think both people need to care about how the other person feels it. It can't just be one-sided. Like if you are gifts and your significant other is words and he just tells you you're great, but he doesn't take the time to give you a gift, then he's not showing that he cares enough to give you what you need or fulfill you in the way you need fulfillment. So I think it's important to do it on both sides.
What's your love language, Raul?
Do you know?
Rubbing the head. Rub my head, honey.
For me, I'm a toucher. Like, your
I would've
woman,
guessed.
Oh, are you?
your woman is the
that.
one you can touch. Like, I don't touch a lot of people in real life. I shake hands, a few things here and there, But your woman, that's the one you can touch. Like, I like a little rub, small at the back, maybe a little lower, depending on how safe the situation is. A little leg
Bring out
tap.
the polisher.
Yeah. Oh no.
Bring out the hip polisher.
Well, this is what I do for them, and I love a girl who wants to cuddle because that's what, like I said, I don't touch a lot of other people. That's what I do with my girl because I
But
like to touch her.
that's how you project your love. But how do you receive it? How do
I
you
accept
receive it?
whatever you can give, baby. I'll take it.
Oh, you're low maintenance.
Yeah. Oh, yes. No. The words of affirmation are great. Statistically, guys get a lot less compliments than women do. So you guys are used to being called pretty by somebody or some douchebag who's trying to sleep with you or whatever. Guys get less than that. And so that's always nice. And I love things of service. Half my house, not half, but I've got a lot of really nice things in my house that were, arts and decorations that I didn't buy. They were women that I dated. And it was really nice that they bought that for me because it worked very well with my whole, I'm a guy, I'm a decent decorator, but I needed that. That little statue with the three guys with their butts hanging out, perfect. Thank you. That works
Wait,
great.
where is that statue? I saw the plant. Where's the butt statue?
That's downstairs in the living room. It's got three guys with their butts hanging out. I'll bring it up the next show. Anyways.
Need it in the background.
No.
Statue every
It's
week.
downstairs. I'm not going and getting it. No, things like that and like pictures that work out. And so I've dated a lot of women who gifts were their language of love. They would give you things. And I'm a horrible gift giver. Like I'm horrible at it. And so when I get a cool little gift or a woman shows something appreciation by getting you something, that always warms my heart, But it makes me feel good when you give me compliments. And I love being cuddled and rubbed because, like I said, that's your whole job. Not your whole job, but that's part of what your deal is I get to. I don't do that with him. I don't do that with her. I don't do that with that old fart over there. That's what you and I do. And so it's a shared kind of thing. And so any kind of stuff pretty much works for you. Most guys, just take care of us. I don't want to this is my first time here. I'm not going to get too far into the dirty shit, but
I'm sorry, Sean. What is your love language? You like gifts? You like
my giving out?
Sounds like it's everything. Huh?
Yes, I'll take whatever you got.
So whatever she gives you, you just like. At least
Well, okay. Here's my big one. There's a big turn off for me of the girls that have to flirt with every guy in the fucking room all the time. I don't like that. The girls that reserve certain amounts of their femininity and flirting and behaviors towards one guy, most likely me, that makes me happy.
Hopefully.
The ones that give all of themselves to every guy. No, but I'm going home with you. Yeah, but still all night. You know what I mean? I've tried with women like that, and it never works. You know, there's got to be a divide between how you in public.
Like, this is your girlfriend that's doing this stuff?
Girls you're dating or a girl who wants to date you. If you want to date a guy, don't be, there's
Too friendly with everybody else.
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, you can be friendly, but there's a difference.
Like too friendly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Be too friendly with me.
Hey, I object. If a girl can be friendly with another guy and get you both drinks, good for her. Yeah, you could both enjoy those drinks together. Do you know what I mean? Like, but the world is simple. Do you know what I mean?
No, I've done that before. I've sat away from my girlfriend
that.
and have a guy come up and he'll buy her a drink and she'll slide it over to me and then hop over and we'll laugh about it. That's okay.
Yeah, let another guy admire. Let other people admire beauty. If people want to lavish beauty with gifts, then they're stupid. Yeah, like life is not about. I don't believe in giving, but I do believe in giving. I will give everything I have, but I expect that in return. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
I was going to ask for a kidney, but I'm not willing to give it back.
No, but well, that's it. That's exactly what I was going to say. I'd give a kidney. Do you know what I mean? If I was able to give it, I would give it, and that's, I guess, how I. But I'd expect someone to go to bat for me, or someone to give that back. Yeah, does that make sense? That's what I would expect, but I don't really get love language. I just, I guess that's.
So you don't feel like you have one that's like dominant, a love language?
Well, today was the first time I heard about it, so today was. Oh. Yeah,
well, it's a pretty new thing. I think.
What cherry.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's great. Interesting.
So there's words
there's
of affirmation. There's acts of service. There's physical touch. What else? Help me out. Where's affirmation? Acts of service, physical touch.
I don't remember, but I have to add something to it because. So I have like done some it's not psychology, but I've taken, because I've been into human resources. So we take a lot of, emotional intelligence things and, how to communicate with people. And a lot of people touch this topic of love language, but they think about how I like to receive it, but they don't, because it's selfishness. They concentrate my love languages. So this is how I think, how I feel love, or what makes me feel love. What about the other person? How I receive love and how I see it, how I receive it is one thing, and how I give love is different. Because I might be very affectionate. I'm a very affectionate person. I am affectionate, but that doesn't mean the other person likes affection. You know what I'm saying? So some people will be like, oh my gosh, she's too lovey-dovey. She's too mellow, because that person is not affectionate. So
but on the opposite end, Sayeda, yeah. Like, should they meet you halfway? Like, okay, she likes affection.
But this is the thing. But hold on, let me finish. So in this case, because I am affectionate, I learned that I liked to touch. I like to hug. I like to kiss. But when someone is getting closer to me, I don't like it. I don't even like to sleep with when someone puts their leg on me. Oh, that makes me feel so uncomfortable.
How does that work?
Exactly. You see when someone because the way I perceive love is different. I like quality time.
So wait.
I had
to
learn.
Hold on.
How do you go kiss somebody?
I had to learn that when you give love and when you receive love, it's different. You see, when you know yourself,
so wait,
you're like, we are more complicated. We're more complicated than what we think we are. And I'm not saying women. I'm saying humans. Humans in general. Because just because I am affectionate doesn't mean that I want affection all the time, because that's not who I am.
I'm just trying to see how that works. I like to kiss, and then you go for the kiss. You're like, no, don't kiss me back.
Just when I want to. It's just when I want to. It's just when I feel.
Right.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I am affectionate, but it's like when I want to get close. Like I get close to you and I hug you and I kiss you and I'm lovey-dovey, but it's just when I feel like I'm going to do it. But if someone is like coming all the time and they're like on me all the time, I don't like it.
So if you sit next to her, roll the fuck over because she needs your space.
I'm not cold. You see, you're taking the extremes. I'm just saying.
You're so cold, and your feet are really cold.
My
Like-
feet are always cold,
I
actually.
know.
Always.
Y'all put them on us all the
But
time.
you know
And I'm
why?
always putting
Because
my feet under someone's feet.
You
Under
gotta
someone's
like tuck
butt.
it. Yeah, you gotta
I
tuck
don't
it.
We don't
there.
like that, by the way. We don't like that. Just to let you
women
know.
are always
Men don't
I
like
love
that.
it.
Women
I
are
love it. You
always
can do it to
cold.
me all day,
Feel
every
me
day.
at all.
But
I'll
only
be like, I
below
need
the
you. You're
kneecap.
my
If
blanket
you put
right
it
now.
on my
I need
thigh, I'll roll out of bed. Get
So
away with your
Saira,
cold feet of death.
I would like a question. So I have a question for you. So in the future, in all seriousness, right? Because you give love that way, and that's the only way you know how to, right? And that's how you feel like you're loving the person. Now, how would that work? Like, how would you find a partner who would be okay with with those standards, or with that list, with their requirements, right? Like, what would you look for a partner in that? Or how would you look for it?
I will say one thing before we get into it. I don't think anyone has just one love language. That's a bunch of
Yeah.
bullshit. You can't
They
pigeonhole
don't.
human beings that way. Everybody has a little bit like, I like to rub, but like just like her, not all the time. You know, sometimes I just want to tell her she looks good. Sometimes I just want to fix something for her and make. So everybody, don't ever let, like, I have a minor in psychology, and a lot of people are certain, although this is the right way, like the Nunzian scale, I forget the name of it, where like the 6 degrees of sexuality. I disagree. It's like 30. You know what I mean? It's degrees all the way across the board. So don't pigeonhole it. If I say I like to rub you, it doesn't mean I'm every time you walk by, it's I dream of Jeannie and how are you doing? No. You know, same thing with her. She likes to kiss when she wants to kiss, and sometimes she don't. It's human beings. We're animals, like a cat. Sometimes you can pet your cat. Sometimes you ain't gonna just pet it. That's just
Totally.
you can make a dirty joke out of that if you want to. But
Meow.
don't.
I know you want to. Jeez.
I'm being nice.
Jeez,
This is my
Raul.
first time. I'm behaving. Anyways, don't
It's
pigeonhole
fine.
it.
I'm enjoying it.
So Fee, you're right. You know, it's like I give this way, but I also give all the other ways as well. It's I've never been offended by a certain way of giving. You know, and all it takes to fix it is communication. Hey,
It
baby,
does.
don't roll on me at night. You know, I get hot. Leave me alone. You tell your
The
man
big
that,
C.
he should be like, all right, and just deal with it. And that's
It
what human
does.
beings should be.
But I feel like that's a
You
dirty
are
word.
totally correct.
Like communication.
You're totally right, Ro. You're totally right, because it's just what's predominant. That's what it is. But we have levels of each of it. And that's why I said it. It's not like that's all I like, because I demonstrate that way. You know, I am like that. But I personally like quality time. That's how I feel more like, okay, if you are not giving me quality time, we're gonna struggle, because I need to feel like we're having quality time, you know. So I don't put this love language into, like, you know, into play. I don't even mention these type of things, to be honest, to someone. I just learn to get, you know, to get to know the person, what they are into. Like, some people don't like to hold hands when you're in public. I will ask why, you know, what's the reason, because that's what you're getting to know the person. Instead of reacting or overreacting, like, oh my God, you know, like, you don't like to hold hands, that means that you don't want to show me up, or whatever. Some people think automatically go in that direction, like, oh my God, he doesn't feel proud of holding my hand. No, like, why? I learned someone, to be honest, I like to hold hands, but I didn't like to hold his hands because they were sweaty, that dropping sweaty. Like, sweat was dropping of his hands. I was like, no, I'm not gonna hold your hand.
Get your clammy fingers off of me.
Look, you have
So
an
I
issue
had to
there,
hold
though.
his arm.
The reason certain people react certain way is potentially it could just be learned behavior. So they might have had a previous partner that genuinely didn't that were with them
That's
for certain
insecurity.
aspects, but were certain aspects are great. Like, oh my God, this guy makes 120 grand a year, but he looks like and does this and he does that and you know what I mean? Like, so you don't really want to see holding hands, but you'll walk him. But it's the same way, vice versa. I don't think that should ever happen. Does that make sense? And also, it might sound weird going back to what you were mentioning before about literally positions in bed. I used to be able to cuddle with one partner, but with other partners, I can't. It's just odd.
Like it doesn't
just
fit properly.
yeah, it's weird. Like
It's the
sometimes
vibes, the vibes.
I don't know that even. No,
But
I
it's
don't
like
think
it's
so.
like some people you can tuck properly, and then some people it's
Okay.
like awkward. It's like, where do I even touch you? Like, where? It's so weird.
You know what? That
You know
makes
what?
sense.
Just get
because
away.
With my dad, I am more like acts of service. I like to serve him. Like, I like to bring his coffee. I like to feel when he's like, oh, I was not expecting coffee. Oh my God, you read my mind. Oh my God, this food was great. You know, like I like to, when he does those things, he gives me those compliments after serving. I like that. It's just, that's the reward. But when I was little with him, I would be very lovey-dovey. I was very attached to my dad. But now that I'm grown, I'm not too lovey-dovey with him, but it's more a different thing. So I totally agree with Alex on that. Depends on the person.
I think I do agree. Everybody has different like love languages, and you might not be you have to understand each other's love language and be understanding. However, I think there needs to be some type of compatibility, because at one point in long term it will, I mean, it happened to me. I'm just speaking of, like, it's anecdotal, I guess, at this point, but um what happened was, I looked past a lot of things where it didn't, like, hey, you know what, this person's he's just that way. But then it bothered me, like, maybe year 6.5, maybe 7. I'm like, okay, this person maybe, is not gonna change, or he's not really gonna understand how I receive love. Or so I think compatibility is really important, and chemistry, right? So
I agree. And to your point, I remember my father used to always tell us, when you're getting married, you need to choose a person who you're pretty happy with the way they are now. He said, because it's very rare that a person will change. So if you don't like the way they are, marriage is not going to change that. So, and then to, was it Raul's point? I don't know if it was Raul or Alex. I don't know. I forgot, because I don't even know how we got on this topic. This was
We're those
even a
white
question.
guys, they all look the same anyway. So.
You guys are
Wait,
just
have you literally just assumed my? Hey, I'm just-
Oh,
see,
I don't even know.
I'm
How did
lucky.
this wasn't even a topic. I love the way the conversation went, but it wasn't even a question. How did we
You're
even get
welcome.
here?
I know it's about
Yeah, I
independence,
love it. I
right?
love it. Like, this wasn't even, but I love it. I love the way it went. It was very genuine. I love how it just flowed into the next conversation. Chanel, you've been sitting over there really quiet. Did you have anything else to add before I hop to the next question, which is completely off
You
topic?
could even
All
call
good.
her lazy.
Yes. The next question is a completely off topic. I just thought it would be a fun, interesting one, and then I want to end with the final topic, which is kind of what we've been building towards, right? But I have a question about this generation. Do you agree that this generation is lazy
What
compared
generation?
to the older generation?
Which generation?
Millennials and down,
I don't
Okay,
think
so
so.
is there any millennials in this chat first?
like that, like the bottom millennials, not the elderly millennials. The younger millennials.
I'm actually not a millennial, so
Are you
I'm
not?
actually one of the older millennials, so I'm out of this question.
The elderly.
elder
She said
millennial.
the elderly millennials.
Not the
I'm
elderly
saying one of the
millennials.
original
Hey,
millennials.
Char, can you help me out
The
here,
OG,
please? I
the
think
double OG.
I'm the original, yeah. Like, I can shake hands with Gen X, no problem.
Wait,
I'm
Raul,
a
you're 22.
zillennial, so
I am 23, thank you.
Wow, you're a
I'm
handsome
not
chap.
23. Get the fuck out of
You're
here.
not.
When did you start losing hair then? At 15?
In my early,
Well, it don't matter
20s.
regardless.
Before that, I had long hair.
Went to a scary barn and someone
Yeah.
scared out of him. I don't know.
I've seen
I did,
pictures
but I
of
had
his
too much
mullet.
testosterone for my hair, so I scared it off.
How come guys
And
lose
hopping
hair in
up
their head
prom.
but not on their face? What's up with that?
Honestly, it's the amount of testosterone you produce has an after chemical that kills the follicles in your hair cells and makes them stop growing new ones. But it doesn't work on your face, your hair, your arms. It's just the top of your head because God's got a sense of humor. That's what.
Now, I was going to say something really embarrassing about myself, but that explains a lot.
That's really how it goes. So I was too much man for my hair.
He's the opposite.
He got
Alex
the
is
peach.
the opposite, you see.
He got the peach fuzz going on over there.
No,
He's
you
really
can't have it all.
trying.
No,
You just cannot have it all. That's it. You can't have it all.
So it's a trade-off then.
I would rather have that.
To answer your question, Kelly, if I may, I would say, I think
Yeah, because this panel keeps
maybe
going off
the,
topic.
maybe the
Thank you
word
for-
maybe
thank
the
you.
word I will go with the word lazy. However, I just people don't like, and yeah, that's what it is they don't want to put the effort. They don't understand that everything is not that easy, because they got like, oh, you know what, information is out there, I don't need to read anymore. I just get it done, like they don't want to put the effort into doing anything anymore.
But
Everything
yeah,
is just given so easily.
I
But
think we
I
have
don't
to
want to say
specify a
everybody.
little bit
No,
about
not everybody.
in what sorts of the of laziness do we consider? Because
True.
I'm 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 right there in the zillennial, I guess. I'm like half Gen Z, half millennial. So I don't consider myself lazy at all in any sorts of the word lazy. And I'm part of, I guess I'm part of
Hello.
both of the generations.
Mhm.
I do think that maybe the new generation it, have understood, or I don't want to say understood. Yeah, understood that they don't need to take shit from anyone. A lot of people in the past would just sit down and take it. Didn't matter what it was or however it was. A lot of people nowadays would speak their mind about whatever topic it is. If it's about sexuality, gender, abortion, whatever it is, they would just speak their mind. And the same thing happens when it comes to work and stuff like that. So you're not gonna see a 19-year-old go to a job and be harassed or treat mistreated by a manager, because the next day they will just not show up to work. And I don't think it's because they're lazy. I just think that they just most of them don't want to stay there and take shit from people.
That makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense.
I think I do agree with Brian. I think a lot of it's instant gratification. It's not as how it used to be where we put in the hard work, you get the hard good money back. But here now
I
we
love
realize
that.
that we can make money from home, right? We don't have to, like you said, we don't have to take shit for anybody. We can speak our mind. It's not politically correct, right? We don't have to be like, oh, watch your mouth or whatever. Yes, it is a little toxic, because then the respect for elderly, kind of like how we kind of grew up to respect the elderly, goes out the window. But I realize they're not as bad, where the Gen Zs, they're realizing, hey, there's other ways to make money. I can make money online. I don't have to work for anybody. There's so many like young entrepreneurs, and I love seeing that. And I think back in the day we didn't have that someone to look up to, or someone to see like, hey, you know what, there's this avenue to take other
This
than
is
just going to
possible.
school.
Yeah.
Right. Just going to school and like have a career, and that's where you make money. We're realizing that, hey, it was all a scam, basically, right? Like that's what they see it as, which can also be a toxic thing, because then they're throwing college away. Like education, it wasn't just for making money, it was also like discipline. It taught us to study, taught us to research. But nowadays they're just like, you know what, I don't need to go to school, I can just make money, make more than my mom ever made, and get out from wherever I am at. I can buy my mom a house at 25. Whereas now, like, so yeah, I wouldn't say lazy. I just would say like instant gratification, smarter way to do things, more technologically inclined. We're in the middle. We're in the cusp. We're before the analog. Oh, sorry, we're after the analog generation, and like kind of like in the middle of digital and analog, right? So I think we have the benefit of both. But yeah, I hope that helps. Thanks.
No, I appreciate it. That was actually an excellent answer. Chanel, you look like you want to say something.
I
You're
do.
not on my. Okay.
I do. I do agree that they are different thinkers. They're not afraid to ask questions. They're not afraid to ask the why. And they think out the box. They're more creative than we would be. Sometimes I'm talking to my nieces or my nephews, and I'm like, that's an interesting perspective. I never thought about it. So I think our definition of lazy or hard work is different from theirs. I mean, it's the millennials and the Gen Zers that I feel has started a lot of the different movements in our country. With the different protests and so forth that has happened, it's because they didn't want to take it. They're like, no, this is not right, and we're going to do something about it. And then they mobilize and they do something about it. So I think I think they're different. I may not agree with everything that, the way that they think, but they definitely find a way to get things done.
Everyone has to evolve at some point. So, we can't just stay at the same and keep, flatlining, because we're not going to get anywhere. If it would have flatlined from like a few generations back, we would still be dealing with slavery and still dealing with women not having any rights or anything like that.
So I guess when is the way we look at love and the way we look at that sort of thing going to evolve as well? Because we're applying a very, very dated mentality to a very, very updated way of living. So I think things are in a very, very difficult state because of that.
What do you mean? Can you further elaborate?
So the way I don't think because we're stuck in a weird generation gap. There's so the age gaps between and everything in the middle. We're in a bit of a messed up world. I not in a that's a lame way of saying it. There are people out there that could probably explain it a lot better than me. But I guess we're living in a state where most people believe in a certain way of being, but it's not that way anymore. But we're still applying that mindset to this lifestyle.
Right. So
the mindset needs to have changed.
Mhm.
Yeah. We there's a lot of it's the reason what prompted this is Brian saying evolution. Like the world needs to completely evolve, and I guess I believe COVID is probably one of the triggers for that to start happening, and the world, yeah.
In your opinion, how should
Sorry.
that look? That evolution of relationship. What should that look like now?
I guess just everything just needs to be a lot more open, because the evolution is more devolution. I don't believe one person should bring up a child. I don't believe that at all. I believe a community brings up a child, and if that child fails, the community's failed that child. But that's not the way of life anymore. That life is gone. That's just it's sad, or you don't find it as much. I think unless nothing's going to change unless we change the way we're bringing our kids up. Because the world is the way we've been brought up is okay, yeah, and it works, but it doesn't work. So the world needs to evolve, and you're not going to evolve that without evolving this, and you won't evolve this by not teaching it young enough. Does that make sense, or do I need to elaborate more? I'm sorry.
No,
guys.
I get
that makes
what
sense.
you're saying. I get what you're saying.
You guys can
Alex,
run with
but-
this, and you could probably there might be the greater minds here than me that can pick it apart. But what I'm trying to say is we are limited at the moment, and I think it just the world is advancing now a little bit too fast. Does that make sense? And we actually aren't keeping up, and we're living very dated. Does that make sense? We're applying.
Right. I think what you're trying to say, what I'm trying to kind of decipher what you're trying to say.
Sorry,
is that,
thank you.
No, that's fine. No, it's like we're stuck in between the old thinkers and the new thinkers, right? So we're trying to kind of like shift over to like, where do we go? Like, where do we fit in here, right? Do I progress, like have this progressive view, but we also kind of like program from a very young age to think a certain way, like our parents did, and like how their parents did. But now we have a term now called breaking the generational curse.
Yes.
Right. So now where the newer Gen Zs are like, no, we're breaking the curse, and that's that. Now we're kind of like tiptoeing around it. So I think what Brian's saying is like, we need to evolve mentally, right? We need to progressive,
Level
like
up.
progression. It's a progressive thing that we have to do, but we have to do it, intentionally and mindfully, right? And I mean, a lot of us, some people don't want to change, and we can't force them to. Everybody has their subjective views. Everybody's views are subjective, unless you have a whole lot of peer studies done, and it's an objective view. Like all the views that people have is subjective, but to them it's objective, right? So we have to understand that's their belief. And if you're a lot of people, I think like we're so stuck on debating our point of view, not really listening to the other person and saying, hey, you know what, this person can also be right. I could be right, they could be right. What's knowledge? Knowledge is subjective to me, right? That I think of. But anyway, I hope that
No,
kind of
I agree with that, and I appreciate, and that's actually the reason why I decided to come up with a panel, a diverse panel, because I wanted to have different views and different perspectives. Because if you have your little world and your few friends, then you're going to be small thinkers. When you get outside that box and you talk to different people from different cultures and different religions and different backgrounds, you get a wider perspective and different worldviews, and it could change your mind about things you didn't even know you didn't even know you thought a certain way about a thing until you have a conversation about it. So I find that I am a lot of my friends, I have a lot of friends that are outside of my race, and I find that I'm their only Black friend, and they'll ask me questions, and I'm like, have you never heard this before? And they're like, no. It's like, you're the only friend I have that's Black. And so I'm like, okay, well, whatever question you have, feel free to ask me. I'm open to having these conversations, because I want you to understand. I want you to know my perspective. I don't want you to see something on television and think that's just the way Black people are. Let's have this conversation. I don't want you to believe propaganda. I'd like you to be able to open up and have a forum. So that was the whole reason for the panel. So I'm glad. I feel like it's working out wonderfully.
I think
and
we
I
see.
actually,
Sorry, I think we see a lot of clash right now between the different generations because people are living a lot longer, and it's just a fact. A lot of older
Are you
people
telling
are
me the old
still.
people need to? Are you saying they need to kick the bucket? Is that
No.
No, not at all. They need
No.
to keep living. They just need to work longer. Unfortunately, nowadays, that's just the way the world's going.
No, no, no. I don't think that people just need to die, but uh, a lot of them were raised with very different mindsets than the kids that are being born today, and that are the ones that are inheriting this world. You know,
Well, I do have pushback on the lazy. I do think a lot of people these days are lazy. I think there is a lot of entitlement. Not everyone, but I feel like people believe that I was born and I deserve everything. And they don't have a lot of a work ethic. Yes, I do believe they speak up, and they don't want to take the things, like what Brian said. They don't want to take what the older generation would just deal with, just go and they work 40 years for a job and retire the same job. They do have a different mindset, and I respect that and appreciate that. But I also know there are teenagers that make way more than adults make, and they don't even want to show up for work or do the job that they're being paid to do. I've seen that too. I've seen my son. I told him he's going to be a millionaire because he always thinks of the laziest way to get something accomplished. And he's like, Mom, I want to invent something that could just go turn off the light for me. Because you don't want to get up and walk across the room and turn off the light.
I have it.
I know, but he
Wow.
always thinks like, what can I do? Like, what's the laziest approach to this?
or hey Google.
Exactly.
Alexa, turn the fucking light off. There you go.
Siri.
Oh, swear jar. We need a swear jar.
No, I will
Yeah.
refund it. I want to say one thing, and all the points you've made are valid, guys. I'm not trying to invalidate your points. However,
However.
Here comes Raul.
for the majority of our species' existence, the older generations have called the younger generations lazy. This is not unique to the boomers and the zennials, okay? I forget which Greek philosopher it was. I want to say it's Socrates, but I want to get it right. But one of the earliest writings they got from him, because Greek is one of the older languages, it's hard to get all their shit, is him lamenting about how lazy the new generation is and how much they don't work as hard and how they're so privileged and how they don't respect all the values that their elders have way back in the day. And it's been that way ever fucking since. Each one of you, when you get old, for me, not too long, we will say, oh, the new generation is lazy. Kelly's already there. Okay? Everybody is going to, it's just human nature. Now, whether or not it's true Are Zennials truly lazy and entitled compared to boomers? Get a huge study going, guys. But is it normal, human, our species, regardless of your race, which, by the way, I think we're all one race, but fuck that. Regardless of your cultural upbringings, is it perfectly normal for everyone in the older generations to call the younger generations lazy? Yes, we've been doing it since the beginning. Okay, some guy named Ugug thought Agog was lazy. And that's just how it goes. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong. Kelly, you could be right. They could be lazy motherfuckers. I've worked with them. Like I said, I'm an original millennial. Like, I created the internet. You're welcome.
No, that was an
Kelly,
Back
you're a
back with
millennial.
the AOL dial-up.
You're a younger millennial, so stop with that shit.
I've realized I am a millennial. I do apologize.
You're a millennial too, Alex, most likely. Chanel, yeah, I think you are too. I'm the only one that raised my
I'm right on the line. Right on the line.
I'm a millennial. I am.
Okay.
What's a millennial? Like, it's like,
That's exactly. I thought it was a Gen something. It's a bit like what's this love language? But yeah,
no,
I'm
no,
an
I just
88
want to
baby.
know, like,
It's never the
I'm
90s.
91.
You remember the 80s.
You're
might have-
You're
so,
yeah.
3 years.
You don't
The
really
age
know
range. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm
you don't really know the
34.
80s. You were alive, but you don't remember that shit. You know the 90s.
You put on
Came
music
of age,
from
you
the year
were-
I was born, and I'm like, I know that song. It's because my mum
Yeah,
put
well,
me
it
listening to
switches.
while I
Don't
was-
worry about that. But if you were conscious and a young adult going into the late 90s, millennial. Period. That's how it goes. Because you came during the millennium, yada yada yada. It doesn't matter. But Kelly, you could be right. They could be lazy motherfuckers. Brian, you could be right. They're just revolutionaries. But I will say that every generation has had this same conversation before.
I was just
So
thinking.
does your dad think you're lazy?
Yes.
While Raul speaks, I wanted to say that. Okay, so can you imagine, like, lions, for example, right? They don't have to go through the struggle or the hustle of how am I gonna survive? When a new lion comes in, like a new pack of lions, they don't have to think, oh my God, I'm gonna struggle with this. Like, they have to learn everything from scratch, and it's the same thing over and over. There's nothing new in their life. But for humans, it's different because there is a different thing out there. Like, the ones that didn't have internet, now they have internet. So the struggle is different. Like, the challenges are different. For animals, it's the same over and over. Same challenges. For us, well, not really. Now, if we think, like, there's more trash out there for some animals, right? And, like, the environment could make it a lot harder for some of them. But what I'm saying, the development and what the way they do things, it might be very similar. But for humans, we have to literally think about something different. What are the new challenges of this generation? Because there are things that are invented to make their life easier in a way, but they have to come up with new challenges. Just like Kelly said, her son, there is a thing already that we can tell, hey, turn the lights off. It already exists. So he has to come up with something different, better for those, challenges that he has. So that's why I think the difference is, and why we always think like they're lazy, but in reality, it's just a different way of living. And I think Alex mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, maybe what he was trying to say is that we are programmed to think that what our grandparents were doing or great grandparents were doing was the right thing, and we want to transmit that and say, hey, I want a traditional marriage in this new world where being traditional, or the mindset that they have back in the days, it is almost impossible to have if you're close-minded. And it's like, the way and the reason why is because most of the time, these marriages were based on religion as well. They were based on religion. Most of the time, they were based like that. And nowadays, people don't even read the Bible, but they still want a traditional marriage. Like, they still want those ideological things, but they don't follow those things. So it's like, you want that, but you don't preach. I mean, you don't practice, and you want to do that. So it is very complicated. We are humans, complicated humans.
I think
I have some thoughts. But I was gonna let Chanel give her final thoughts because she has to go. So feel free to.
Thanks, Kelly.
Absolutely.
Well, this has definitely been very thought provoking and interesting. I appreciate each of your perspectives, and it was a pleasure being a part of the panel with you. Thank you, Kelly, for putting this together and the questions, and just encouraging the conversation. And I look forward to maybe joining again one day, or definitely listening in to this panel again. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Yeah, you're
you.
welcome. Have a good night, everybody. Or
Bye,
morning,
Chanel.
wherever you are.
Wherever you are.
Yeah, it's 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. We're all
I do want to point
Oh
out
my
that,
God. Oh my
that some
God.
videos are incredibly lazy, because if you look behind Brian, his clock has said 6:50 for the past 2 hours. That man just won't fix it. Okay, that's pretty fucking lazy.
Why don't you go buy
Move your
a
head.
new
Move your
battery,
head. Let me see.
Raul?
Your clock, Brian.
Wait a second.
Wait.
You didn't even have to do no research, Brian. I'm so
Look, there it is. And
No,
it
no,
hasn't
no, guys.
changed.
In Brian's defense, it's like that because love is timeless. God, do you not see that?
Perfect. You see, he
That
knows
was
the
good,
gist.
Alex.
Yep, he knows the gist. No, it just got stuck in daylight savings.
2 hours.
Yeah,
Alex,
that's
I
just
know you.
that's the time somewhere.
Oh my gosh. Alex, I know you were trying to say something before Chanel was leaving. Did you? Oh, Alex isn't there. Well, I do have one final question. When Alex comes back, I'll let him go if he has anything else to say. I do have one final question. It was the main question, the reason for it was the main topic that you saw in the thumbnail. So I will ask the question because it's actually geared towards the ladies, and then I can fill the guys in whenever they pop back on. It is, as women, is our desire for independence stifling our need for help? And I brought this question up. I was kind of leading up to it, so I kind of want to get your thoughts, and then I'll chime in with mine.
Can I hear the question again? Sorry.
Sure. Is our desire for independence stifling our need for help? I mean, I can give my thoughts now if you'd like. Give you guys some time to think. So what provoked this question was a friend of mine said to me that I was the epitome of a feminist, that I embodied the definition of a feminine. I mean, of a feminine.
A
Wait,
feminist.
How did you ask the question?
Feminine warrior.
Anyway, I
I said that even though you
Feminism.
might not agree with it, you embody the definition of feminism.
That's exactly what he said to me. And I was like, I'm not a feminist. How dare you, Brian? And I got really offended. I was like, let's look up the actual definition. So he did, and he read it out loud. And I was like, I hate you. So because he was right based on the way that I live, and because I am a successful woman, it can be viewed that I'm an independent, strong woman. But my question is, does that stop people from wanting to aid you? Because why would someone come to the aid of a person that already looks like they have it all together? So do you look like you need help? Does a man feel like he needs to be there? Does he feel needed? Does he feel desired by you? Because you look like you have it all together. Why is someone going to come, oh, would you like me to do this for you? Do you need help? No, because you look like you have everything, all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed. So that was my question.
You ask for help though?
Yeah, and I know, like, there are women who are that damsel in distress, and men automatically run to their aid because they look like they need assistance, versus the woman that looks like she has it all together. Go right ahead. Does that make more sense now? Okay, feel free. Chime in.
Can I say something? So
Go right ahead.
I am a very traditional mindset in a way, but I still have some of the new things because I understand women. So I respect women and their opinion. I do not agree with many things. That's different. but I definitely understand the why behind it. Now, if you notice, when I said that I really enjoy serving my dad, that's just me.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, a lot of women will be like, what's the pleasure in that? You know, like just serving. It's my father and I love him. And that's when someone has put that into you, like you really get to love to do that. Like cooking for him. And someone in the chat said, you got to give your dad a break. That is not a traditional mindset for men. Because a man that has a traditional mindset will understand that. What's the joy in a woman of serving? Like when my brother compliments my food, it's just, there's nothing better than that. And it's my brother. I don't have to feed him. I don't have to give him any food. But it's just something that you enjoy naturally. It's that, giving, and that's it. And you don't expect nothing in exchange. I don't expect them to do nothing. But I have to say, when I need them, they're there. If I'm like, can you pick me up? I'm here. They don't hesitate. Right now, in 10 minutes. All right. They don't hesitate. Why? Because they see that when you give them and there's nothing. And I'm not saying this manipulation because I don't expect anything in return. I'm saying that there's also something behind from men that makes them be more soft with you. And I have to also agree and add, I'm sorry, that I have dealt with some American men that they are so used to dealing with aggressive women or what they call masculine women that they want to be aggressive with me with a feminine woman. And I'm like, why are you talking to me like that? Like slow down. So there's a lot of things. So when you act in a certain way, that provokes them to act in a different direction or go in a different direction.
Fee, I know. Oh, welcome, Carmen. Thank you for joining the show.
How come Carmen got to come in late and the rest of us had to be here for 2 hours? What's going on with that?
She has
know.
kids. She had to put them to sleep. Jeez, like she's got little ones. She's
Any
got
whiskey?
babies.
I'm
So
just kidding. I didn't know this thing was going to last for 2 hours. Kelly told me it was a 30-minute show.
I did not tell you it was a 30-minute show. But this is the last question. If you have to
Women
head out
don't lie
early,
about
I
time, men
understand.
do.
No, I was going to speak on it. That's like what Carmen said is so true. Like we have to, like, yes, we're successful,
Sayeda?
but we also have to say, Sayeda, yes, what she said was so true because we have to walk in our femininity, right? At the end of the day, we have to hold our space. It's soft life. I'm hashtag soft life for me, okay? Because I realized, yes, I can do it all myself, but I want a partner. I mean, we came into the world to be with someone. We didn't come here to be alone, right? So in order to, I guess, just be in like as a woman, be a woman. I want to be a woman to someone, be a wife. A lot of people ask me, you're married. You want to be married again? I do want to be married again. It was a bad marriage, whatever, doesn't matter. I want to be a wife to someone, and I enjoyed that. Like I enjoy catering to somebody, and but it's hard.
Sorry to
Sorry.
What'd
interrupt
you say,
really
Alex?
quickly. Do you need to be married to do those things? Can you not do those things for someone anyway? Can you not just do those for? Does it need? Does being
No,
married to that person
married could
cement
be
that
anything to you.
Okay,
Somebody who like common law, whatever you want to call it. I just say married because just union between somebody, right? It doesn't have to be, but
that
go ahead.
union, but like I don't understand why you need to put a ring on something for that union to begin. Because theoretically, if you are walking down this path, you started
think
that
it's
union
what it
already.
is.
That union begins as soon as you guys decide that this is a thing potentially. Because like if you're gonna cheat, you're gonna cheat. You don't need a ring to say you're not gonna cheat. Yeah, so it's like I know. I guess I just don't think being married is the thing that makes you a unit. So yes, you want to get married again, but maybe you don't need to be married. You just need to find someone that you are happy to have that bond with, and it works. It doesn't. You don't need to put a ring on that. And I think
I
that's
think
how I look at it. But that's my belief. I guess I am sorry.
no, absolutely. But I get what you're saying. I think it's just like it doesn't have to be marriage, like I said, like just a union, right? Like being with somebody, finding your person, right? But like I wouldn't get married right away, but I think I do believe in marriage because I think Saira was saying like it was based off of religion, and like it's like a lot of people are religious, and it's exactly right. It's my belief, and you have your belief, right? So we have to like that's just how I see myself living my life, being with someone, having a family, you know, having that like family bond, because I enjoy it. I enjoy being around it because I never had it really, right? So I want to have that for myself, and I think it's a beautiful thing, to be honest with you. But to each his own, right? At the end of the day.
Alex, I wanted to tell you something. I wanted to share a personal experience just to be on at what is your name? I'm sorry, Robinson.
Fee.
Just to understand what she's saying and the reason why. Also, I understand women is because I've also been on the other side where I am a traditional woman that serves a man. It doesn't have to be my husband, but this man that came from the United States said, and I've mentioned it many times in these panels, he said that because I cook and I serve everybody, that didn't mean anything to him. He was not appreciating what I was doing because since I do it for everybody, it was just natural to me that I had to do more than that. You see what's the difference? Like when you actually are with someone and you do something that you want to do and serve someone because that person is, but the other person doesn't appreciate it and it's just diminished because you're supposed to do it just because. And that's when I understand women that no, we don't have to. We do it because we want to do it. And that's why I said I don't agree or disagree, but I understand people. And I really
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. What were you saying?
I guess I am myself personally thankful if someone does something for me. I think it's a really nice thing. But I guess I've cooked for myself pretty much since I was 13 or 14 because I'm a fussy eater. Yeah, so it's unfair for everybody to be subjected to what I eat just because I'm a fussy eater. And that's just how I've moved along. So someone cooking for me, and so I think that it's lovely. But trust me, like if the way you show your affection for someone is cooking for them, you would hate having to cook for me, and you would find it really, really hard because I don't mean that in a bad way. Like I don't eat much fruit, I don't eat much vegetables. So like I do believe it's time, and there's like it's just meeting that person that is reciprocal. It's so you would cook something that I would like, and I know you'd go out your way to probably find something I'd like, and I would understand that, and I would find that it's accepting that back. Oh, go on, Brian. Go on. Sorry.
I think that's where love languages come like into
Yeah,
effect.
it's just been amazing. I've learned about that tonight for the first time ever. It's great.
I'm gonna send you over the test so you can take it and see what yours is.
Oh, dearie me, yeah, that's gonna be great fun. I'll tell you all next week. No, not next week because you're not here.
No, yeah, there's no show next week. Just as a reminder, Carmen, I'm so sorry. Thank you for coming in. Did you want to share? Did you hear the last question?
I'm not sure if I'd be stepping on anything to have not heard everything before. I guess we're talking like traditional versus sounds like submissive and dominant traits between couples. Can you fill me in?
So we started out with the question about in other cultures, if the wife doesn't work, how is she cared for? And then we talked about how important is a man's need to feel needed. And then we talked about, is this generation or future generations lazier than the older generations? That was just a fun conversation. And then the last question was, is a woman's desire for independence stifling her need for help? So that's where we are right now.
So the answer is yes for that. And we are honestly afraid to ask for help because of the expectations that are there. And it don't even have to come from men. It could come from, regardless of gender, it could just come from your job. The woman is always seen as the caregiver to the children. So as soon as the kids are sick, who has to take off work? Dad gets to go to work, and mom probably makes more an hour. You never know. But men, it's just been like this traditional thing. Now, on a personal relation type of level. I am actually very traditional, and I wanted to be this stay-at-home mom that didn't work, and it worked for us for a few years. But now that I started working again just a shy like 2 months ago, I can see this expectation of having to not only manage the household but manage the children, plus make sure I make it to work on time and get home at a decent hour to cook because
And
go
still
ahead.
be here doing your thing, doing a
Oh,
podcast.
yeah.
Which
It's
I
Well,
don't think is
oh,
fair.
so side note, I am actually doing this all by myself, but I am in a relationship. He works out of state. So I am physically doing all of these things on my own. And when he does come to town, I absolutely cook. I jump into that wifey role, but when he's not here, I'm very like I'm more laid back. I don't have to cook every single day. It's more of as long as the kids are taken care of and we made it through this day, it's a good day, right? So when he is home, which is not very often over the last 2 years now, I'm very anxious and everything has to be cleaned up and neat so that he knows that I am doing a good job here when he's not here. And there's a sense of needing him to know that everything is good over here because as he is working out of state, he's obviously paying most of our bills. And the only reason why he's working out of state is because he does make more than me. I started working again for mental health on top of needing more income, on top of the lifestyle that we wanted. So I'm kind of in the middle of that traditional meets new world era where when he comes home, which like I said isn't very often, but when he is home, I do have expectations. And those expectations are that I'm managing this home when you're not here. So when you are here, there are certain things that need to be done. With that being said, for someone who say is full-time with their partner, those are also rules that would also need to be established to make it work on both sides. I would love to say he cooks for the family 2 nights a week, but that's absolutely impossible because his cooking is terrible.
Does he
So
order takeout? Not that
absolutely, that is
not
definitely
that
his go-to. I'll be
excuses.
like, I'm not
That's
cooking
not that it
today, and he'll
excuses
get
it.
takeout.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That
Yeah,
doesn't
and I'm
excuse
okay with that.
anything. That doesn't excuse anything, but it's I guess his way of well, like I don't have time, or I'm sorry that I don't have time. You've always got time. It's like nope. It's just gonna be much quicker to do this. Let's do it that way.
I'm not even gonna knock you on the not having time because I can hit him way, but we'll go time. No, you're right. Go
Yes.
get takeout. Thank you for the takeout.
Yeah.
And that's our love language, right?
But-
So I heard the love language part. So real quick, I just want to hit on what the gal said, and then what you said about the whole ring on the finger thing. Man, I'm 7 years deep in this relationship. I got 3 kids, and I still don't got a ring.
You don't need it. You got
I
kids.
don't need it.
Theoretically, you've got kids. That should be that's the bottom
And I
line.
do,
to be.
and I have that confidence, but there's this it's this, I'm gonna use y'all's words, there's this feminine energy inside of me that's a child still that wants to walk down that aisle as a princess. That
Did you hear? Did you hear
it's
the
weird.
2 definitions
to
I gave
Disney.
earlier? The need and want.
Go to
Yeah,
Disney.
and so this generation unfortunately needs to understand that fantasy world, it doesn't exist anymore, and it started to die probably like in the 70s and early 80s, where what's the word I'm looking for? It starts with the ch, where men like open the doors for you. Chivalry. That is dead. It's just
No,
not
it's
dead.
not. It's not.
It's not.
But
It's not.
that's the love language
met my
that
dad?
you then find. But then only those women are so lucky to find men that are still that way. And for those who are unfortunate, have to step up and be a masculine type of woman that is semi-independent, because then their energies match.
But I think
But
you see what you want to see, though. A lot of times we like what we manifest this thing or whatever. Like you're looking for it. When you look for it, you'll find it, right? So if you're looking for people who don't like, you're expecting them already to not be chivalrous. So they're not going to offer that to you. Yes, there are there are so many different people in the world, and chivalry. I believe chivalry is not dead. Like I've seen it. I've seen it happen with, like you said, my parents, like my uncle. Like just there are people who are like that still, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
I look for it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think chivalry is dead. I would say it's an endangered species, though.
Well, no, that's not true. I always.
That's better. I like that one better.
It's
But
dying.
how can it be? No, but how can it be? Because everybody here is either got children or gonna have children. So how can it be a dying thing? Because I know that I come from a household where both my parents got divorced when I was 5 years old. So I learned chivalry from both my parents. It doesn't matter. It's just called manners. It's not chivalry. It's just being
I agree
holding
with
the
that.
door. You know what I mean? It's just genuinely being a nice person. And I learned that from my mum. My mum's always said, "You give me a boy until he's 5, and I'll show you the man he'll become." And I genuinely believe that. I had 5 solid years when my parents were together, and I think that made me okay. But I think after that, it's the damage was done. Once they got divorced, that's when things went astray.
But you just
That's
said
not their
your
fault. That's mine.
parents.
So yeah,
But you just
they're
said
still-
your parents
I still see them both.
taught
Yeah,
you. But
yeah, they
your
taught
parents taught you.
individually.
There are some people whose parents that aren't showing them that.
That's
So where
correct.
do
Yeah.
they learn it?
So
Do they watch an old English British movie where they used to do it back in the day?
Same way you learn.
Oh, they throw their. You know what I'm saying? Like
They should be learning
where
it from
do
their
you?
teachers. They should be learning it from community role models. Does that make sense? This actually goes back to me saying that I don't think one person should raise a child, because what happens if that person's parents both get struck with mental illness because both their parents die, like both grandparents die really, really quickly of something freak within a year of each other. Both those parents are left in such a weird position because they've lost hierarchy. They've lost so much of their life. And sorry, I'm getting really passionate. And they're throwing into a bit of turmoil. So then those kids are left. Well, these parents who unfortunately are still children themselves, because we're always just kids. Because suffering the loss of a parent is something you're meant to be ready for, but you never are. So those children are left to suffer, and who's there to step in? Those grandparents are gone. So they've got to. So the brothers and sisters step in. People you just left. Most people are left to deal with things in their unit, and if their unit falls apart, we no longer have community. The issue is community. Yeah, we have social networking, but we have an antisocial community. Like we need a lot more togetherness, and that will then breed better relationships. Better, you know what I mean? Because we just see things are throwaway. Things are easy disposable. Things you can just get something new constantly. We need to build. We need to start rebuilding relationships from the ground up. Does that make sense? And it doesn't matter whether that relationship be with a woman or a man or a man and a man or whoever. Just relationships between humans just need to get better. How many people can hands up say that they know 5 neighbors in their streets' names? Great in America, you guys are a lot more neighborly. I love coming to your door, your country. You guys, you leave your doors open sometimes. I know it sounds terrible, yeah, but maybe not so much now. Things are changing. Yeah, things are.
What part of America do you leave your door open?
Okay,
Oh,
that's fine.
We don't even do that in Canada, okay?
Okay.
No,
I don't do it.
So I've been to the States and I have stayed
I've
at
seen it.
people's houses, and they
The Midwest.
Okay, yes. So I was probably in Texas and Arizona. Is that? Am I right? Am I right in saying that's the Midwest?
Yeah, I've seen
No,
people
well,
leave
you're
their door
close,
open.
but that's around that area. You're fine.
Anyway,
No, definitely
I'm going
in
off point,
rural
I'm going off
areas.
point.
In
I'm
rural
going off point.
areas, they leave their doors
I would
open.
say the sense of community is something that's slowly dying, and it's not something that's being nurtured within younger people as much so. So therefore, it will just slowly die off. And I believe in like it's just an easy way to stop us from having healthy relationships. I think relationships are just relationships. It doesn't matter whether it's a love relationship or a friendship. And I think we're slowly forgetting how to build a strong
How to
relationship.
rightly relate with
And
people.
how to communicate properly with each other. Communication is a massive thing, and I like that's what my friend Raul mentioned before. And I was like, communication can solve everything, really.
I think some at least some
Sorry,
I mean
guys,
some
I'm
countries I would say, like at least in Puerto Rico, I grew up where we would leave our door open. If we're at home, the door is wide open all day long. And a lot of houses and a lot of my neighbors will, live like that. We I don't remember any time other than maybe when it was like late at night, or really late at night when we would just like lock the door. We always had to remember, hey, remember to go downstairs or go to the front door and lock the door and close the door, because the door was always wide open. And I think it's a bit different because I think at least in Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico's very welcoming to like their neighbors and stuff like that. A lot of people know each other and have known each other for generations, and it just I guess falls easier in that at least in that part.
Did everyone have a chance to chime in on this question?
But on the question themselves, I would say I do agree that it's a little bit more difficult, especially when women are, that mindset of, oh, you have to be very strong women, or you have to be, if a lot of women have fought for the rights for a very long time, and if a lot of people still have that mindset, especially men, that if women fought for their rights, then you need to be able to what am I trying to say? You need to be able to do the same work as somebody else, even if you can't,
So have equality.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm getting my words out correctly, but let's say if you are to need help at work, you will prefer not to ask the man that works with you because you don't want that man to think that you're weak. And
I
agree. I work in a male-dominated field, right? So I'm literally the second girl, the dark-skinned girl, right? In my company. So I always get the shorter end of the stick. It's like I have to fight sometimes to learn. They won't teach me much, but I had to learn myself now. I won't even like to ask, because then they'll be like, oh, you don't know, like just make you feel small, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's true. We have, and sometimes I feel like being strong it's like a shield. It's literally something. It's like I have a hard coating. I have to have this hard coating, but inside I'm soft, and I want someone to break into that, right? And I want to be able to allow that person. And a lot of time I feel like we're not that vulnerable with people, right? And that's where relationships, like what Alex was saying, like come in. We don't let ourselves out fully because we've been hurt so many times. And like we're in the generation now that's like it's unpopular to be with someone or be married or be in a relationship that's long term, because it's like you said, like people are disposable, right? So yeah, like I feel like I want to sometimes being strong is it's hard. It's like we're tired. I don't want to be strong. I'm like sometimes I want to just like relax, and let you handle it, or like and I will do the same, vice versa, right? But because men have to be strong too. You guys have to be so strong. You have to have this like make money, bring this, do that. Like I get it, right? So like we have to kind of lean on each other, and the big thing is now like we're not, I don't know, the vulnerability comes in, right? We have to also like holding humility, like we have to be able to take criticism from our partners, right? Because sometimes they'll tell you like, hey, this is what you're doing wrong, and then you're like, I'll take it to offense. Sometimes like I'm like, oh my god, like what did you just say? Like I need to fix myself. Like like, but I'm trying to learn, like we have to learn to be more more accepting of these, like I don't know, suggestions to be a better person, right? Because we're making each other better at this point, and like we can't do that if we're not vulnerable, if you're not, if you don't hold humility, if you're not like just everything just like comes together. So I feel like we have to be willing to learn from other people, basically.
It also happens a lot with men,
Carmen,
just like you said. Oh, sorry.
No,
Go ahead,
you finished Brian here, and then I saw Carmen's hand.
Sorry. So yeah, so there's this mindset that all men have to be strong. They have to be, like a lot of people have mentioned here, they have to be the provider. They have to be the strong figure in the house or whatever. And, that same pressure happens to us. And, sometimes we are, we feel very mentally tired where, it's been times that, I've had breakdowns where I just need to go away for a few hours and just, disappear because first of all, I don't want people to see me if I end up crying or something like that because, I'll be viewed as a weak person or something like that. So, not only women go through it, men, with that mindset that, we need to be strong, manly men. Right, Sean?
Absolutely. And I think, you know what? Therapy is so important for everyone. Like, this is why men's mental health is not being talked about either as much, right? Now, like maybe there's some like light on it, but not fully. But I think everybody, like we gotta be, I don't know. I think therapy is looked down upon so badly. Now it's coming up. Like at least in my community, like by my mom, like I would say, like, Mom, please go to therapy. Like, and she'll take offense to it. It's like nothing's wrong with me. You think I'm crazy? Like, but I think
No,
we need
and you're right, because I had my sister say that to me. We just recently lost
fighting for
our
everything.
father a year ago, and I wasn't dealing with that trauma well. I've never even thought about therapy. My sisters were like, Shayna, you're being really mean. She's like, you need a therapist. You need to go to see a therapist. I was like, I don't need a therapist. There's something wrong with me. But I was like, you know what? If everybody keeps telling me, maybe there is something wrong. So I started seeing a therapist, and it's done a world of good. It's because I didn't know how to process this type of trauma. I've never experienced it. I've never lost someone so dear to me, and I didn't know how to handle it. I even got a friend from a call from one of my friends that live in England, and he was like, you go out a lot, you eat a lot of food. That is a sign of undealt with trauma. And I was like, leave me alone. That was him, that guy right down there. Yeah.
rude. That is
Yeah,
rude.
I was like, ugh. And then I was like, no, I just like to eat good food. And he was like, no. He said, usually when you care about yourself, you take the time to cook a meal because you're showing yourself that you care about how what you're putting into your body. And I was like, what? I was like, no. So I was like, I'm gonna prove him wrong. So I didn't go out that weekend. I didn't drink. I didn't eat. I just sat in the room. And after 2 hours, I just started bawling, crying. I was like, okay, maybe I need to see a therapist. And it's done it's made a world of difference. I've only been seeing my therapist for 2 months. My father died last October, and it's made a huge impact in my life. So I'm definitely a supporter of therapy. It just helps you process things you don't even know you're dealing with. So I'm sorry, Carmen. I know you were trying to say something.
So therapy is
I would.
something we don't get here. So that's you guys, it's big in America. Like we are so far behind on mental health in the UK. It's unreal. I have just gotten therapy. Waited 8 months for counselling. I'm just getting counselling now for something that I'm finally ready to deal with after nearly 10 years of dealing with it on my own. Like and not knowing how to process what I've been through. So it took someone else to tell me the signs that I told you. So someone else that was more clued up, because they're a younger generation that have been through their own traumas and have come out the other side. And they then told me, because I have never dealt with it and don't know how to deal with it. So I'm hopefully trusting in this process, and I'm glad it worked.
Yes.
I'm glad that you said that, because it kind of goes off with what I wanted to say. To wrap up the question, if it's making it the what was it, the desire to be independent, making it harder to
stifling our need for help, it's
their need for help.
Like you never come to the aid of the strong, independent woman because they don't look like they need help or assistance.
So a few decades ago, the whole women's right movements for equality, man, fuck that shit. I'm gonna say that right now. It's messed up because women don't do the same thing that men's do physically, like bear children, and what that does to a woman's body mentally, not physically. That's a whole different subject. but mentally is different. And I applaud the UK. If correct me if I'm wrong, it's normal to have paid maternity leave and paternity leave for several years. Am I right?
In
I
Canada
believe,
too.
yeah, I believe in the UK for sadly it's not something I got to experience, but maternity leave is a lot longer for a woman in the UK than it is for a man. But yes, we do get paid maternity. But I know I think it's Iceland, they're looking at doing the same amount of leave, paid leave for both men and women. But yeah, I think
Okay.
time with children is the most important thing that can happen on this planet. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? And I don't see how
Over
going
here,
to work.
that doesn't exist over here at all.
And how do you
So
expect
at
your kids to raise
all.
themselves? That little box that you give them when they're a child nowadays? No.
Yeah.
El
No, we have the
Salvador,
same
so
we have
policy
4
in
months.
Canada.
4 months. I'm sorry, El Salvador, we have 4 months of maternity leave plus 2 months of breastfeeding hour, we call it, because the woman gets to arrive 1 hour later or leave an hour earlier from work just because she's still breastfeeding. And the man
my
gets
job tells you to go clock out. Go
Right.
clock out, go pump your breast, and then clock back in when you're done. That's what. So
Child
when
don't
it
feed
comes
itself.
to fighting for equality, what happens is women started getting out into the job field and they started learning how to do men's jobs, and then men started getting upset that women were figuring out a way to do it easier, faster, and better,
Like
and
my
they
sister.
were intimidated. So, and that's not all situations, that's not all professions, that's just some professions. And men, because they were already in that power, they were in that political stature that had them making up all the damn rules. They can easily knock that woman down and just be like, nope, you're too smart. Nope, that's a great idea, and I'm just gonna put my name on it. It happened over and over and over in all different aspects. So I wish some of those things would not have happened. I wish our country would hold women to a woman's standard and men to a men's standard. I am very saddened to now it is becoming more popular for men to speak up, and it's because it was so much easier for women to speak up when we were fighting for these equal rights. So many centuries of telling men, don't cry, suck it up, and keep moving, where when women started to finally have a voice, they were saying, wait a second, say what you need to say because it will make you feel better and we may learn something. And that's not what men wanted to hear. The men wanted to continue the tradition and just do it the same way and make it the same way all around. So yeah, it is difficult for a woman to want to meet men halfway and not ask for help at the same time, because I'm technically asking you for help when I ask you to open your ears and just listen to what I have to say. That is something that men had to learn, is to you shut up and listen to the woman say her opinion as an equal person. And that wasn't respected until recent. So yeah, it's always going to be difficult to ask for help. We don't want your help. We can do it on our own, and we can do your job on top of that, because that's unfortunately what the man kind of forced us into doing in order to achieve equal rights. We had to be able to do all of it plus some.
So
And
just to, oh, sorry.
no, that's it.
I was just going to lower the tone really quickly. So I on my Tinder profile, literally it says, since the rabbit was invented, men have been useless, but at least I'm tall enough to reach the top shelf in the supermarket. Yeah. So like, you know what I mean? Like women are powerful. Like it's something I learned from coming from, obviously I spent my sister's younger than me. My mum, I have 3 scorpions in a household together, kind of grew up. I really do respect the power of a woman. It's just phenomenal. And if you put power in a woman, then it just goes even further. Does that make sense? You give a woman something, she makes it better. It's just something that but that's only a woman that's healthy and happy and loved. You deprive a woman of certain things that she needs, and you won't get those things back. Does that make sense? And
Absolutely. And that's where you have to figure it out from the beginning and figure out what your love language is to complement you as a person. You can't sit there and say, oh, well, I love physical touch, and then the other person just wants to sit there and jabber in your ear all day. You're not going to make it. It's not going to go nowhere.
I can't wait
You're
to
going
do
to be.
this little thing, this exam. It should be hilarious. But
What oh wait, what
I think it's
exam are
called.
you talking about? It's a questionnaire.
Yeah, it's a questionnaire about like your love language, but I believe there's not a love language. Raul just wants to jump in here. You're just compatible, and then if you're not compatible, it's whether or not you want to make an effort for that person because there's energy.
Yes.
You converse on it. We vibrate, vibrations, blah 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 blah, energy, all this sort of stuff that we aren't what we think we are. There's just so much more that we just don't understand and we don't see yet. And that's why we are stuck in this rut. Like, how can you think something that's 70% water mass is not affected by the lunar pull every freaking month? Do you know what I mean? Like, why people get crazy and said, like, so.
The exam is just a way to classify it.
Yeah, I've got a point, sorry. I go off point very, very, very easily. But yeah, I'm a big believer in there's not one person for one person, and I believe like if you meet that person, you might, wow, I really like that, and I want to be part. So you will make it. We've got lazy, and that goes back to what you say, Kelly. Like life is really lazy.
Even lazy in relationships, like not working hard and fighting through it to stay together.
And then that goes back to what I think is the big root of most evils is discipline. Sorry for cutting you off. I don't think we because we are now no longer we don't discipline the way we used to, which is good because I think that was archaic. But without the correct level of discipline, you don't learn to have discipline, self-discipline. Does that make self-discipline in your own life? Discipline to make sure that you do the things that you need to do as a human being or whatever. And that it might look as like it's lazy, but it's not. It's just they haven't been taught the discipline to actually do the things that they need to do for basic life because things fall apart in certain places. So I do think discipline is needed, and I think discipline that's why going back to the animals living in the jungle doing the same thing, that's not the same that they just have a regimented way of life because it's kind of like discipline because things, as you say, things don't change, but you can still have discipline with change.
It would have been awesome to have some of this panelists last week.
Oh, it would have been funny. It would have been funny.
Yeah. I'm already going to say you definitely. Is it Alex? Was there a confusion with the name? It's Alex, right?
I'm Alex Frisbee. Yeah, it's just because it's my Facebook name. I am really sorry. But yeah, it's Alex Dearden. That's my name.
Got you. Well, yeah, I wish you were here last week.
Why? What happened?
It was an interesting.
Was it the relationship one? I think. Yeah. I actually fell asleep at my desk last week.
Yeah, he was invited.
I was meant to be here, but also I fell out with my mum over last week. I sent her what the questions were gonna be, and my mum was like, "You think I'm a bad parent?" And it's not me being. That sounds a horrible way to. My mum just thinks I am always out to get her, and she doesn't realize I love the bones of her, and it's there's nothing she can do that could ever be wrong in my eyes, but. Just life is hard, and like I think there's places where she may have dropped the ball, and like, but that's not her fault. Like, how is she meant to know what to do? But it's just I'm trying to deal with my own traumas, and it's life is hard, and you realize, and everybody has their own traumas, and yeah, like so I'm lucky. I missed last week's. I missed last week's, and it really, it really. But I'm glad. I think it would have caused me a lot of trouble because I had actually thought about the questions, and then I fell asleep. I was sat in this desk. I just finished playing games with my friends, and I was sat around waiting. And
not only that, there were a lot of strong opinions last week.
Don't worry. You'll definitely be invited on for the next show. There's no show next week.
Really?
But there will be one the week after. I did want to wrap with just one final question.
It was nice to meet you, Carmen.
What'd you say?
Just said it's nice to meet Carmen.
I'm sorry.
You too. Stuff, and I've seen her before. That's all.
So I did want to wrap with one final question. In a perfect world, if you had your ideal relationship and situation, would you, as for the women, would you want to be a stay-at-home wife and mom that was provided for and taken care of? And for the men, would you want to have a wife that stays home? Would you prefer you do the 50-50 and she goes to work? What would you prefer?
I want to be the stay-at-home mom.
I want to be the stay-at-home mom too.
I want to be taken care of.
I don't want to be taken care of. No. I just want to spend all my time with my children because, like, that is the biggest gift you can be given in life. Like,
okay, so your perfect scenario: you're independently wealthy, and you both stay home.
Yeah. but that's never going to happen. So whoever can genuinely make the most money with the least amount of effort should potentially win the bread and and then you do your best to make sure that they are looked after and as well you can, as well as holding the fort down. It's just life, you know what I mean? You where something's lacking, you pick up the slack. The issue is when you don't feel like that slack's being appreciated. That's it. It's just appreciation. You don't feel like the effort that you're putting in is being appreciated by that person. So then you want to withdraw that, and then they're like, "Well, why have you stopped doing that?" So, well, you weren't. I think, yeah, just life is too hard and too difficult, and then you've got to throw work in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, and I think there's no right or wrong way to do life. There's no manual. There's no book. There's no nothing. So, we're all walking uncharted territories, and doesn't matter. Your parents might have brought you up, but your child is not you. Does that make sense? So, what worked for you won't work for your child, but your parents don't know, but you've secretly suffered with ADHD all your life, and now you're finally realizing that your life could have been so much easier, but it wasn't a thing. Does that make sense? That life changes and things change, and we are evolving as humans. Like, it's just you can't win unless you can't win if the goalposts keep moving. Does that make sense? You can never win if the goalposts just keep moving.
So it sounds like everybody on the panel wants to be the stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, nobody wants to work anymore.
Hold on.
And we're the lazy
Coming
generation.
from a recent stay-at-home mom. Okay,
you like work, but you need the routine. Sorry.
No. It's not even. It's not even. It's so weird. So the job I had for over a decade, and when the pandemic hit, I was pregnant with my last child, and my twins were only 2 years old at the time. So I was already high risk because we didn't know how COVID affected pregnant women at the beginning. So I was automatically put on leave. And then I just became even more paranoid as a mom with young children to go out and leave the house. So I automatically wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and enjoyed it, but it was already what I wanted. Like, I'd already established with him, I don't want to work. Until they're all in school, I'm not going back to work. And when they start school, I'm only going back part-time. I'm going to take them to school. I'm going to work while they're in school. And as soon as they need to get out, I'm out and I'm back home cooking dinner and doing the more household things. So that would put it to 5 hours a day, 5 or 6 hours a day to work by the time I get there. And then by the time I got to go pick up the kids. So I would put in 6 hours of work a day.
20 hours a week. That's literally all you need. That's all you should need to do to actually sustain life. I think 20 hours a week, nothing more, nothing less.
And unfortunately, here you have to work 55 plus hours just to cover your mortgage and bills. So if we go back to when I had my third child, we were talking about $2,400 to $2,500 a month in childcare alone for all three of my children, and my mortgage is only $1,450. So why would I break my back for them 20 hours for mental health purposes if I wasn't going to see no money at the end of the paycheck? If it would have just gone straight to childcare or straight to insurance or whatever, and then there's no benefit. And where was I getting the gas money to get there to begin with? Because I just started. It makes no sense. So that's why I stayed home. So coming from a stay-at-home mom that absolutely adored the time that I was staying at home, and I actually dreaded as I counted closer and closer to those days that I knew I was going to go back to work, it oddly ended up being something amazing for me, because once I finally got to work, I didn't feel like such a terrible mom. And when I say that, I mean, like you said, we're going through this life. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. So when we have kids, guess what? You don't know what the fuck you're doing with them either. And all you gotta do is keep them breathing and fed, right?
It's when the penny drops. 1 second. It's when the penny drops that, wait, my parents didn't know what they were doing. Oh, yes. No. Oh,
and I automatically forgive them for all the shit that they didn't know how to answer, even all the way through the teenage years. And my kids are 4 and under. So I'm already forgiving them for the shit I did as a teenager to try and revert it and almost prepare myself for the shit that I'm about to go through in another decade, because we don't know what we're going through. We don't know any of this. So as a stay-at-home mom for 2.5 years, oh my God, I absolutely loved it. If I could be a stay-at-home mom right now, I would absolutely do it. But I also want my hair done, and I want my nails done, and I want to go have weekends off with my girlfriends. And guess what? Daddy don't make that much money. Daddy make enough money to cover our bills and make sure that we are good at home, and that is all that he is required to do. I am not here to make it more stressful on him to have to manage my lifestyle when I've chosen to turn around and stay at home. Wait, I missed that. What'd you say?
That's why we need to find sugar daddies.
I'm allowed to, as a matter of fact, but I just
Carmen,
actually a piggy bank.
You're allowed to.
Go ahead, find yourself a sugar daddy that you don't ever have to touch.
Let me talk to Carmen for a second. Carmen, you're brand new. I haven't talked to you before. It sounds like to me, like when you first came in, that you and your man have formed a partnership that you're comfortable with, correct? And so you found a guy.
It's temporary, so we're comfortable with this temporary situation.
But you enjoy having him around, don't you? You like hanging out with him?
1 week every 3 months?
But he's brand new. Like, no. From what you said before, and I agree, it is tough, But you found a guy and you said, look, the guy does bring home the fucking money and it helps me do my shit. And when he comes home, I want to be a little more vulnerable and I want to kind of do a little more feminine stuff, because her main question is, as Western women, which all three of you guys, well, four of you all were up top, is your desire for independence stifling your need for help? And all of you said, basically, yes, I have to be strong now. Women's independence, we have to be able to handle our own shit. We have to be able to pay for the bills. We got to be able to take care of our business. And you do, because of course you're capable of it. You're human beings just like men are. But you still want a guy, or if you're gay, another woman, whatever works. I don't give a shit. That you can actually be vulnerable to. And Fee brought this up. Sometimes you got to be careful because you can't release that armor. You got to have your armor on. You never know if someone's going to come and stab you. And so you got to be careful about that, but you still want to be. And so I think the answer to Kelly's question is your desire for independence stifling your need for help? Unfortunately, yes. But most of y'all have found men, Carmen, you just coming in recently and telling you about the partnership, which way back at the beginning, I was talking about how reality, there's going to be asshole men and there's going to be bitchy women. That's how it goes. But for most of us, when we team up together, or for Brian, if you team up with another guy, it doesn't fucking matter. If two human beings team up and decide they want to work together, I didn't mean like that, Fee, but if you find the right people you can team up with, you can get a good partner. And it's a team exercise. And society's going to fuck with us. That's how it goes. At the end of the day, if you can meet somebody that you can team up with, regardless of your gender or your sexuality, that makes life so much easier.
Absolutely.
Yes. So that's my answer to your question. Is your desire for independence stifling your need for help? Unfortunately, yes, but it's not the end of the world because not everybody has to exist in that plane. Some of them can still find guys that will open doors for women. Every time I go to the car with a woman, I open the door. Otherwise, I couldn't get in.
Wow.
That was amazing. I was like, yeah.
On the left side.
But in all seriousness, yes, the world would be a great place except for two people, the assholes and the idiots. They fuck it up for the rest of us.
Raul really does not like stupid people.
I don't.
He's not racist, but he's.
I don't care about your religion, but if you're stupid, I fucking hate you. I can't deal with it. If it's like you've got mental difficulties, no problem. We'll help you out as a society. But if you're willfully ignorant, I'm done with you.
Yeah, we tried to look up the word one day for being prejudiced towards stupid people.
Oh, there's a German word for it. There's a German word for everything.
Oh,
what is that word?
I don't remember.
My favorite German word is
Schadenfreude.
or Schadenfreude?
I don't know, but the
How do
German,
you know there's a German word for it and you don't remember it?
because
Like,
it
I'm just
sounded
confused.
German. Look, back in the day, there was an English king that said I would speak English to my friend, French to my lover, Spanish to my God, and German to my horse. And you can hear German. That's German. Okay, if it comes out like that, maybe Dutch.
Alex just said a German word. What did you call it? What did you say?
Schadenfreude?
Which
You,
means
you know that's German.
It means
That's not French.
to take pleasure in another's pain.
See, they have a word for
They
all
have
of
a word for that. Yeah,
They
yeah.
do,
It's, so
they
it's like,
do.
oh, you stumped your toe. Ha ha ha! Schadenfreude. Or,
There
Did
you go.
you
I'm saying it
Google
wrong.
that?
But like, I think that's hilarious, but you're in pain.
you fell on the stairs. Show me the prayer.
Yeah. It's actually if you guys haven't seen it, it's in Avenue Q, which is it's a musical. So if you guys ever get a chance to go and see it, it's quite a funny musical.
Avenue Q. I'll check it out. But I do appreciate everyone who joined the panel tonight, and I appreciate everyone's perspectives, and the conversation was wonderful. Thank you, everyone who watched and everyone who joined. I hope everyone will come back, not next week, the following week. There is no show next week. But thank you, Fee. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Raul. Thank you, Alex. Does anyone have any closing remarks?
Thank you so much for having me. It was so good to meet all of you. It's like I've known you guys forever. It's been like how many years? You know, we're family now.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad. I would love to see you guys next in 2 weeks. So
2 weeks.
Yeah. Are you going on vacation?
Me?
Yeah, where are you going?
No, I am
No,
actually.
we're
I'm
not
going to
having it.
Turkey.
Oh.
I won't be back until the 23rd, actually. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're gonna come back just in enough time for turkey. Oh wait, you guys don't do turkey over there.
What? Thanksgiving?
You didn't get the joke.
Thanksgiving is not.
It's just
ham.
That's not.
No, they don't do Thanksgiving. That's an American thing.
No, that's.
But that wasn't that. Isn't that the what? Isn't that in November? No.
No, 4th of July is when we kick y'all's ass. Thanksgiving is a different thing altogether.
You mean when the French let you take the country?
They help. They help. Okay.
I like this guy a lot. It's good.
They gave us
Hey,
a great
our
statue.
country is
Let's
still
not
a work
lie.
in progress.
We
Okay?
seen how long it was going to take, and we thought, nah, you could do it on your own.
They helped. Oh, yeah, and the great statue. You know that. You know she's French because she's naked under that toga.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, aren't we all?
Naked under a toga or French?
All right, guys, I'm calling it a night. Thank you so
right.
much for joining, and thank you for everyone who watched.
Thank you.
Join us in 2 weeks.
It was
We'll be
nice
back
to
with
meet you
Bridge Recap.
guys.
Lovely to meet you, Brian.
Nice
And
meeting
everybody
you,
else,
Brian.
Barry, P, and Carmen, and Raul. It was lovely to meet you. Yeah, I really had you pegged wrong there, Raul.
You did.
A lot of people do. It
Nah,
takes
man, it's
time.
good. It's good.
I'm like a big fucking onion, man.
I'm like a
We
big
know.
teddy bear. And like
It's
a
just
massive
so many
teddy.
layers.
There's too many layers.
Uh,
And I smell kind of bad, so it just works out.
No,
But I
you
think
don't.
your question was wrong. I genuinely think is a Western woman's want for independence deterring men.
At the end of the day,
Because
we're
my
all
sister
gonna be
struggles. She's
equal.
very independent.
At the end of the day, we're all going to be equal, and we're all
Yes.
going to be gray colored. We're just not there yet as a species.
I'm one of the first.
You're pretty pale.
Mate, this is like
You're in England. You have no.
so you said grey, yeah. So we're all going to be grey people. I said I'm one of the first. Does that make sense? Like I'm
Alex,
the-
you're clear.
yeah.
You guys are
You know what's really funny? In 2 weeks' time, when I come back, you'll be like, "Wow, what a lovely tan!" And this is what gets me because I don't feel like I fit in my own country. Like I'm British. With I obviously have Caribbean heritage, and my granddad passed away before I got to meet him, so I've lost a huge chunk of what I believe I'm entitled to. Does that? And I'm not entitled to it because entitlement's a big thing at the moment, but a massive
You're
part of my
entitled to
heritage.
your melatonin?
I would have loved to have known more of my granddad's heritage and that side of my family, and I've missed a big. I think it would have rounded me more off as a person. Does that make sense? Because we go back to talk because I didn't get to talk about it. My nan would always have the grandkids. My mum couldn't have worked without my nan, who was a white female man. You know what I mean? Like it's humanity. It's just a want to look after someone. It's a want to love and care. Like some people are lovers and carers. Some people are hunter gatherers. It's just we are primitive and we are just evolving, and we are slowly evolving, and it's the world. We're not fitting into the world that we're evolving into. The world's moving too fast, and I've said it, and I'll keep saying it. Because I'm dating a girl who's bisexual at the moment, and me and her have really good debates about sexuality at the moment, because obviously, like, everybody believes it's X and Y chromosomes, but like she was explaining to me like how people feel a certain way because they've actually got extra chromosomes, or they have different the chromosomes are slightly different, which make them. And I was like, what? Oh, everyone's gone. Bye. What is this?
No,
What-
you're just highlighting.
sorry. Oh, sorry. I was like, so it just opened my mind to a different way of thinking, and then I was like, so why can't we just show the ignorant people that genuinely these people think this way, because there's like show them clear proof that this is why they think this way, and then maybe they'll stop being ignorant, and the world can move forwards. It's just a fear. We're living in a very and fear is the thing that keeps us all in these boxes, and I think the world is a fear factory. Yeah.
I will say
literally.
one thing to you.
Sorry,
Everyone
Raoul.
during their time has the same fears you do. So far, what we can see, what history has shown us, is that we should be optimistic about our race. The human species is constantly getting better. It's slow. It's slow,
Yep.
man. But no matter how hard you feel, there is honestly no scientific reason not to be an optimist. We are slowly doing better. So try not to hate on yourself too much. Try not to hate on your own society, the human race too much. We're not perfect, and we fucking have a lot of bad shit. I mean, I want to kill every pedophile out there, but we're not there yet.
Ooh, yeah, I have a friend who's
That's not a fucking controversial opinion.
No,
Of
I've got a
course.
friend who's a hunter. I've got a friend who went to prison for being a hunter. Yeah, so it is controversial, and I understand. I genuinely like, but within our lifetime, I genuinely very controversial. It will be something that can be a tick box. It will still be illegal. It won't be allowed, but people will be like, oh well, they can't help it because their brain's wired that way.
Yeah,
it's
well,
just the way it's just life.
but as far as we're talking about larger issues here, we're doing better. We will do better.
Yeah, we are.
And just keep that for hope. Don't get too bummed out. Life sucks, but it's better than it was, a century ago, and it would be better for your children and their children, so long as we don't fuck up too bad, and we should. And that's what I got to end my part on, because I need to piss and go. So,
Raoul, lovely to meet you. Thank you.
It was nice meeting all of you. Thank you for having me, Kelly.
On. Absolutely.
Yes. Nice meeting y'all.
Nice meeting all of you. Goodbye.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye.
Have a good week. Have a good 2 weeks.
I'm literally not gonna go to sleep now. I'm just gonna stay up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's nearly 4 in the morning. What's the point in going to sleep for 3 hours?
What time do you have to be up? You have to be up at 7?
I don't have to be up for anything, but I just don't see the point in going to sleep.
Go to sleep.
No, because what I'll do is I'll stay awake and then I'll go to sleep at a normal time tomorrow. So I'll go to bed at 10 or 11 o'clock tomorrow, and I'll be fine.
Sleep for 13 hours if I can.
This might sound really weird. I can either sleep or not sleep. So I've been awake since 8 o'clock yesterday, and I will yesterday for me. So I've been awake now for how many hours? We're looking at. So we'll be approaching 8 o'clock today. In another 4 hours, I'll be approaching 24 hours of being awake, and I genuinely won't need to go to sleep, and I can function probably on the same level as long as I keep active until probably 10 o'clock tonight, and then I'll probably go to sleep then. But it's weird.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think.
So you know what? I don't want you to miss sleep over being on the show. So
no, I'm not missing sleep over being on the show. I've enjoyed myself. I hope.
Well, I've enjoyed having you. Thank you so much for coming on,
Kels.
Alex.
I'll work on it a little bit. Refine.
Thank
myself.
you.
Ryan,
Good
it's lovely
night.
to meet you.
Have a good
Nice
night.
to meet you.
Oh, it was lovely to meet you too. Yeah. Oh, I like everyone. It was really nice to meet you. Are these all your friends? I guess were these people that you know from life?
I know a lot of people. So
You do?
most of the people that were on the panel, I know them personally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like.
Not everyone. You like them?
I like.
Good.
Everyone was lovely.
So,
everyone was really really nice. I really like
when you
Raoul.
come visit, we'll have to all get together and have a outing.
Yes. Yeah, it might be longer than I thought because I didn't.
And Fee's in Canada. I know you want Canada.
Yeah. Can't talk about anything like that at the moment, but yeah, we'll have a chat. Mum's the word.
All righty.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna send over that love language test.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you. Bye.
Alrighty.
See you next.
Have a
We'll
good
see you in
night.
2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.